All right, just a second, y'all. Asada Muhammad, bam. Let me send off these hot links up in this bad boy. Should have, man. I was stuck on the phone. I was trying to get some stuff together here. I can't stand Copa Airlines. All right, let's see. Here we go. Put BGS there. And we have, where'd it go? Here. Sorry for the late start. And we have also dun, 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 dun. Yeah, here. Yeah. Let's see. And who else? Smitty, bam. What's up, fam? Just XR, bam. Yeah, it seems like YouTube is busy, man. Let's see. We got who else? Yeah. YouTube is like, hey man, I'm doing all kinds of things. I'm busy. I got you though. I got you. I got you. Remember that song? Let's see. What's this song? Okay. Get that there. Christine Williams. Bam! What's happening, fam? Okay. One last person. I know I got everybody. Everybody. Yeah. Okay. One more person, and I'm going to go ahead and give you guys the whole gist of how we're going to conduct this conversation, this panel. I think it's very much needed. Let's see. Now I'm going to put my headset in. Wow. Okay. Let's go ahead and let's see. Drop my camera. Let me fix this up right up with you guys real quick. I'll be a horrible newscaster, huh? Okay, let's see. I'm going to draw while I'm interviewing the boomers, y'all. Go figure, huh? That's how I'm going to do it. All right. So I think I got it situated. Let's see how we looking. All right. Yeah. People came to see if there were some chairs thrown. It's like, all right, whatever. All right. We got Lonzo up in here.
What up, Doc?
What she wants. It's not about her.
Okay. Just a second. Just a second. Just a second. Dr. Lonzo, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. I got you fine.
Good. Okay. Shoot. We got Royalty Simpson up in here. Bam! All right. So we waiting on the rest of the crew to come through, the ones that are good with their word. We got the great BGS here.
Hey, what up, Art? What up, OG?
Hey, Lonzo, can you hear?
Yes, sir.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we all good.
Yeah, so we have a couple more people, and you guys got the questions in advance, correct?
Yeah, I saw.
Okay. Yeah, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna draw the great Dick Gregory while we're talking. So that'll probably be my way to conduct questions. I'm gonna try to do like I did with the Griff. You know,
I ain't seen Griffin. I ain't seen Griffin years, man.
yeah, I tried to reach out to him, but you know
Professor Griff?
Yeah, Professor Griff. Yeah,
I ain't seen Griffin years.
Because they're getting some kind of I don't know, they're getting some kind of honors or something for the Grammys.
Oh, okay.
So I guess things like that happen. We don't exist. Regular people don't exist. He's like beneath, just be gone, that kind of thing. So it's all good,
Yes, Hollywood politics.
You know it. So what I'm gonna do, because I'm like, man, I'm gonna just start this off because I don't want people waiting and stuff like that. But OGJ Speed helped me out with the questions, to make sure they made sense. Because I think every generation has their own language.
Yeah, sort of. Yeah.
So I don't want to be asking questions. I'll be like, huh? What? What's this? So I want to make sure that it made sense. So I'm going to start off with this then. I'm going to go with the first question. First of all, I guess you guys can introduce yourselves for those people that don't know who BGS and Lonzo is.
Well, everybody knows Black Gnostic Speaks, at least on this forum they should. And everybody knows Lonzo. If they don't, they better ask somebody.
Yeah. At this stage, but actually grandmama, because it's like that now. Shit. Actually grandmama by Lonzo. Granddaddy.
Heard that. Okay, well, I guess that's a little easy. And then we have also another powerhouse in here.
T West, what's up? How's your daughter doing, man? I haven't heard anything from her in a while. T.
Oh, she's doing good.
Okay.
This is her little downtime right now.
Okay.
So she's relaxing a little bit, working on some new stuff before she gets back out on the road.
Okay.
Yeah. Thanks. She's doing well. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good.
Right.
Doing
Good.
Pretty good. Have you done anything on the dumb shit that the U.S. did, killing the Iranian general?
Oh yeah.
Oh, you done something? Okay, I gotta go over channel and look, see what you just said. What you said.
Yeah, I watch all this stuff.
Yeah, it is what it is, man. I just shook my head when they did it, and then they're gonna send fresh troops into Iraq on top of that. So good grief. Double down on stupid. But we'll holler about that, man. That's outside the scope of this conversation.
Yeah, I guess that was one of his New Year's resolutions, huh?
No, they're actually when you do something like that, because at any time, any general in a war zone, okay, they know where you are because a general cannot travel by himself. Okay, somebody at that level can't travel by himself, so he has to travel with an entourage. And so when you travel that in a big entourage like that, it's easy for them to spot you. So if they want to attack you like that, they have to come with some kind of force. They want to find you, they can find you because you're easy to spot. So for them to actually do that, they're making a statement. The thing is, what kind of statement they're making, and what plans do they have after this? Because they didn't just eliminate that dude for nothing. Okay, they're making a statement. Now, what statement are they trying to start a war, or are they trying to engage the BRICS? Because the Iranians are not going to come by themselves, right? All the BRICS, that whole region is going to come. If they have a conflict, it's not going to be the Iranians. It's going to be all the BRICS coming together. And the thing is, you're going to be fighting 2.1 billion people. Is Europe and the United States ready for that? I don't think they are, but we'll see.
So the main thing is just to try to start a common enemy.
You know what? The thing is that what they did, especially in Iraq, makes so little sense. That the thing is, there has to be something that makes sense that comes after it, because this one act doesn't make sense. Because if they wanted to get him, they could have got him 10 years ago, 15 years ago. Why now? Why this? And why at this particular time? The thing is, they're planning something. The thing is, what is it? We have to wait for the next shoe to drop.
Trying to keep Trump's ass in office.
No. This is bigger than Trump.
You think so?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Because you look at 9/11, man. We're still reacting from 9/11, 18 years. 19 years later. So we're still in it. So the thing is, this is long term. This is beyond him. The thing is, what is it that they're planning? Because you do something like this, you're gonna have repercussion for the at least next 10 years. It's not gonna stop. Iranians have a long memory. They have a very long memory.
Oh yeah, ain't that sure? They worse than the elephants.
Yeah, they go all the way back to the Persians. They have beefs that go all the way back to Persia.
So okay. So I'm assuming that everybody pretty much figured out who everyone is just by going back and forth with each other.
Oh, well, I don't know if Lonzo knows T, but I know both Lonzo and T. So I know T.
I know of T. I've never met him personally, but I know of him.
Yeah, everybody knows T.
Well, let's introduce yourself, Mr. T West, because you do a lot of things.
Yeah. Well, first of all, hey, thanks for the invite. I'm T West, Afrisynergy News. And hey, we cover topics from geopolitics to local things that are happening right here in the United States of America among Black folks here. So various topics we covered, including the topic, including the little kind of side conversation we're having right now about this whole geopolitical thing that just happened in Iraq with the assassination of the high-ranking Iranian general. Some people were pissed, very much pissed, because they had the Iranians and the Russians had played a major role in wiping out most of the foot soldiers of the United States, Britain, France, and Israel, and that was the so-called ISIS, the terrorists in Syria as well as in Iraq. So out of anger, they killed the Iranian general out of anger. And also, just very quickly, personally, I don't think that Trump actually gave the doggone command, even though he has to save face and say that he gave the command. I don't think he did. I think that this came up from someone higher than Trump. Within the CIA, within the Pentagon, where you're using the Reaper drone, you're using attack helicopters to take out an Iranian general who had arrived in Iraq for a funeral as a result of the United States killing at least 30 members of the forces that had pretty much wiped out the terrorist forces that the United States, Britain, France, and Israel were funding and training inside of Iraq as well as Syria. So, but anyway, that's just a little bit more about me. I'm explaining myself by just giving you that that angle right there, something that you're not going to hear on MSNBC, CNN, and ABC, CBS, and Fox News. You're not going to hear that. No way. All right, so that's me, T West, Afrisynergy News.
All right. Okay. So we're gonna get started up in here. We brought the boomers together because there's a lot of things that's being said, a lot of sentiments, things like that. But for some reason, only hear like maybe one boomer get attacked or whatever. I just wanted to see how it would be with a group based on some of the things that people just don't really know about your history and things like that. So it's kind of important to get as many of you guys together as possible, especially the men. I don't know too many female boomers on the YouTube. Not too many. Maybe two. But
interesting.
Yeah, that's what I thought about. I was looking. I think it was only like maybe two that's outspoken and do a lot. But that's it. So the first question would be, how did during your time, how did growing boys interact with men, and what's the difference today?
When you say during our time as adults, or
like when you were, like for example, when you were younger and you were interacting with older men, like in your uncles, people in the neighborhood, stuff like that. We got Mr. Research in here too. Thank you, brother, for showing up. how was the interaction? Was it admiration or was it resentment? How was it back then?
Talking about us toward the older men, or is that what
Yes.
you're saying?
Yes.
Basically, when I was coming up, in my 20s, I looked for older dudes. Where I would actually approach them and ask them questions. So, and you would actually sit back and watch how they interacted, say with other people, with women, with kids and stuff like. We would actually sit back and watch. And if there's something that we didn't understand, we actually go and approach. Hey, why'd you do this? Or what was the reason for doing that? We had a lot more respect because we were taught that we would get that. We would get old one day. We had that in our minds that one day we would be where they are. So things we would sit back and watch. At least I did.
Well, I know for myself, my dad ran with a crew of guys. My old man was he was into gardening. All his buddies were into some type of construction. Guys of bricklayers and masonry guys, roofers, whatever the case may be. And I always found myself being a apprentice. Wherever they were doing, I was there assisting them doing what they were doing. If it was digging a ditch or hauling dirt, going to fetch tools, and at one point in time, I couldn't wait to use the tools. All I did for a long time was just go and get the tools. Go get me a rake. Go get me a shovel. Go get me a pair of pliers, whatever the case may be. And then when my old man finally started trusting me with the tools, I felt like I had accomplished something. And then at some point in time, I didn't have to have him around. When I was, maybe 12 years old, I was using power tools, building my go-karts in the backyard. Everybody else got a handsaw. I got a full-blown skill saw at my disposal, in the drills, the whole 9 yards. So because he allowed me to be around and watch him interact with the stuff, I learned how to use it at an early age. And like I said, it made me an apprentice. Plus, I learned to respect these guys because they were all real dudes. They was all real men. The best thing I could do, man, I think I'm going to go this before. When I was a kid, I never forget this. It's like I must have been about 9 to 10 years old. Barbara McNair was made I think she made the centerfold or something for Playboy magazine, first Black female to be in Playboy magazine. It was the talk of the barbershop. Okay, I'm in the barbershop. Barbershop was a spot for the Black man to be back in the 60s. And they had a copy of this Playboy magazine. Everybody had passed it around, looked at it. They wouldn't let me look at it. And when they wasn't paying attention, I got my hands on it, okay?
They knew you would.
And one of the old guys snatched it out of my hands. And oh man, he can't look at that. And then as soon as he left the barbershop, I grabbed it again. And I never forget, man, the barber said, oh man, he 10, 11 years old? Let him look at titties. He's going to be seeing titties in a little while anyway. I was so happy. It made my day. It was like being accepted.
Yeah.
Okay. It was like being accepted. I couldn't tell my mama that was a man thing. You know what I'm saying? I couldn't go home and tell my mama I saw some titties in the magazine, but it was me and my dad's thing. And it just made our bond that much stronger, dude.
All right, Mr. T. West.
Oh, well, hey, I'm enjoying what the brothers have said. That's good. That barbershop, we still have the barbershops, but I guess it's on steroids also now with social media.
Oh, yeah.
Interesting growing up, I had an opportunity to see a little bit of both sides. You saw the positives, you saw the negatives with those who were older than you, those men who were older than you, and sometimes with some of the women who were older than you. You saw both sides, and especially with the men, you saw those who were good examples. You saw some of those who were not good examples. For example, when I was growing up, very young, 6, 7 years old, and there was one man. He was an ex-vet. He had worked for the government after he came back from the Korean War, but he was often drunk. I mean, he was drunk as a skunk. Me and my brothers would get up in the morning and we would go outside, and he'd be laying out drunk in the dirt, just drunk as a skunk. And any money that he had, sometimes it would be laying around on the ground, like blowing around on the ground and all. I would sit there and just look at it, and that I remember the smell of alcohol, of drunkenness, and all, and I'm like, nah, I don't think I want to be like that. Okay, so, but you saw that, and you saw good things also about people as well, and as children growing up, different children see things different ways, and some of them take some of those things unto themselves, some of the negative things, and some of the positive things, or some of us, we rejected everything negative that we saw. Was like, oh no, I don't want a part of that. But I have some of my brothers, they would adopt some of those negative things that they might see. My father, always a working man. He was always a working man, always working, always his own business, doing his own thing. But he was also into the women. Okay, that was my father. So I saw all of that. I was around all of that. I had an opportunity to decide, okay, now which way do I want to go? Okay, but those were, if not a verbal teaching moment, those were teaching moments through observation. So and we still have a lot of that today in different ways and different forms, but it helps to form who we become, and it's different depending on the individual. So that's a little bit. I just want to share that with you a little bit.
Well, appreciate you. And Mr. Research, the question was, how did during back in your day when you were younger, how I would just say you, because people give me personal experience. How was your how did you interact with older men when you were coming up? Was there a respect factor, disrespect factor, admiration, those type of things?
Okay. So I'm a little bit younger, but I grew up around 3 blocks from where the Black Panthers started. So a lot of things across America were regional as far as this question is concerned. People were coming, they had the union guys, they had the farm guys, and they had the still trying to find their way guys. And you had the guys who were just existing. It's like they don't, everything's going cool. They don't see nothing on the horizon. They kind of cool with how things going. So I ran into, because I grew up around Black Panthers and people who were indirectly affected by the Black Panthers, Oakland was a very pro-Black, pro-family, pro-Black family concept. So it was a lot of, hey, brother, hey, what's up, sister? Hey, it was a lot of that. And that infected all of Northern California. Now, I understand a lot of brothers didn't benefit from that because, like, I didn't know what gangs was growing up as a kid because the Black Panthers ran all of the gangs out of there. Oakland used to be a blood area. They ran all of them cats out of there. And this is why, even to this day, when you come to Northern California, as far as we are concerned, we call something called Bay Love. Now, when I started traveling, that was a totally different thing. Going up towards Seattle, Oregon, like that, when I interacted with brothers as a young kid, not even teenage yet, they were kind of trying to placate to what the dominant society was doing. So they wasn't really brothers. They was kind of like just melded into the system. Then when I went down south, particularly Arkansas and Mississippi, where my parents were from, guys were just existing. You know what I'm saying? It was a lot of guys just existing. They was happy to have a soda water. And, they didn't really pass on a lot of information. It's kind of like a lot of laughs and smiles type of thing. And I didn't find out about Chicago and New York until I got in teenage. But that's a whole nother thing because Chicago's built a whole nother way in the 80s and New York's built a whole nother way in the 90s. So put all that together, you had a lot of brothers who were of that union mentality, and they was trying to pull you into, pull my uncles and nephews into work, have them, matter of fact, man, in the 80s, I never forget, man, I went and applied somewhere, and then the brother just came out the plant. Hey, little brother, you want to work here? Don't give that application to her. When you finish, give it to me. And, he walked me into a cool job. And that's what I grew up around. So when I saw that other brothers were not like Northern California, it threw me off. Because especially LA, I never knew brothers who would backstab. I never knew sisters who would backstab. I thought all black people were about helping each other. But I realized it was the Black Panthers that kind of did that. So that's my long-winded answer to that. It's very regional, very regional.
Okay. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to do the full question, and then I'm going to swing it right back to BGS, because it's a kind of a two-part question. But the question again, and we're at Brother Ghost right here. We call him J Speed, so I'm just saying. But Brother Ghost, how did growing boys interact with men? And then at the same time, would you be able to explain what's the difference today?
Good evening, room. Good evening, Art. Thank you for inviting me to your panel, and all the other distinguished guests on the panel. When I was growing up, my father was very hands-on with me being brought up, due to the fact I had a lot of sisters. I had 11 sisters. And so he kept me at his arm's reach. And he was pretty much of a quiet man. But he taught me a lot of things, and he interact with me in a different way that I interact with my children. But it was most respect. My grandmother raised me on the other side, and she didn't interfere what he was trying to teach me, because she knew I needed that due to the fact of all the girls in the family. And so he used to take me on trips in the summertime, because he drove a truck from Mayflower, and he taught me how to cut grass, how to plant food. You got to understand, I was born in Charlotte, North Carolina, and different kind of place. We didn't have that much TV. Matter of fact, I'm just be honest with you, we didn't have any TV. We had a big old radio that looked like a TV in the house. And so a lot of the things that I learned strictly from my father. And I would say how that would apply to what's going on today is it's a lot different. The fathers are not there for some reason or another. I can't explain why they're not there. There's different layers of why they're not there, but father's not just there today. And I believe the internet, print, movies, music is pretty much the fathers today and the mothers. And so it is a major difference. The way I was brought up, there's certain things a young boy do. There's certain things, my father even let me play with action figures because he thought they was baby dolls, because he's from the old school. My father was born in 1909. And anything that consists of a boy holding in his hand, he considered was a baby doll. So I might have snuck a G.I. Joe or something like that in the house and had it under the mattress. But I see a lot of these guys today, they live in this world of animation and superheroes. But my father wouldn't, he deal with the real thing. So I guess that's the only way I can sum that up.
Okay, thank you, brother. And for those out there that are listening, could you please hit the likes? Hit the like button. If you dislike, fine. But going to BGS, starting with BGS. Now, you already talked about back in the day. Can you explain the difference between back in the day and now, as far as the interaction between young men and older men, and as far as communication, respect, disrespect, any of those type of things? What do you see?
Basically, it's since the black community was just coming out of Jim Crow, is actually much tighter knit, and you had more of an extended family. So basically, not only did you have your father, just like OG was saying, we had a group of men that we interacted with. So it wasn't just our father; it could be the neighbor, it could be our father's crew, it could be our uncles. Because I had uncles, had a bunch of uncles that I had to interact with. So so basically, the men basically raised the men back then. So your mother didn't have as much hands-on raising of the boys. The men basically raised the men. Nowadays, since that kind of unity is kind of broken up, basically it's mothers, single mothers, and the school system, the feminized school system that's raising the boys. So we're getting a different kind of man being raised for the last couple of generations. So that's what's happening. So, but that's just the black community. That's the whole country. It's just the way the society is being built since 1972.
Okay, Brother Lonzo.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So how was it today? You're looking back at your situation, but how was the interaction between young men and older men today? I don't want to say elderly. That makes it sound like you have a cane and a wheelchair. Older brothers.
You know what? I find myself kind of blessed because of my position in hip hop. I don't encounter a lot of disrespect, and when I have encountered disrespect in dealing with youngsters, the youngsters who know me or know of me will check them quick, fast, and in a hurry. It's a lot different though, man, because used to be a time where you could, as a grown man, they could always drop a jewel on you from time to time.
Yep.
And you was kind of not really obligated, but you would appreciate it. Nowadays, you almost have to analyze the cat and get his credit report or get his police record before you drop a jewel on him, because you don't know how this person's gonna react. So many people have been taught to be defensive of anything that's considered constructive criticism. Till if you try to drop something on them, you might get cussed out. And I find myself, I work with a lot of young men. I work with a couple of nonprofits. They're all young men. I'm one of the chief mentors, and these guys, they thirst for the knowledge and the information that we have. It's just that they have packaged themselves in such a negative package. It's hard to approach a cat fully tattooed, dreaded out, looking crazy as hell, and he opened his mouth. He may speak perfectly good street regular English, but he looks so crazy, you don't know what to do. You don't know how to approach it. They feel that that's their right, which it is. But it's and like I explained to a lot of guys at the nonprofit, sometimes people judge the book by the cover. They're not supposed to, but they will, because the book looks like is you can't dress a comic book up and call it a Bible, okay? And this is the kind of things that I find out I deal with a lot of times dealing with these young guys. You want to spread your knowledge and information, but because so many cats are, like I said before, they're resistant to anything that's not a pat on the head. These guys come from an era where everything they did was okay. The OGs on this video, we all got spanked. We all got dealt with at school. We all got dealt with in the streets. We played softball, baseball, football. Our coaches had permission to cuss us out like grown men. No more. At some point in time, all that was taken away. And I have buddies who coach Little League football and basketball, and they say, man, I'm going to quit coaching because I can't even talk hard. I understand I can't cuss the kids. Okay, cool. But if I talk too hard to a kid that's being lazy, I got to deal with his mama. Okay? And so she reinforces all the lazy that he's trying to get out of him.
Yeah,
so it makes it difficult for a man to do his manly duty. But I see you got potential. but you need to. I get to help you pull it out of you. But mom, oh no, you can't talk to him like that.
Yep.
So it's like you throw in the towel. You want to help, but you got too much opposition. And thank God for what I do during the week. I don't have that opposition. These guys are grown. They've been through the system. Most of them are on probation or parole, and they ain't trying to go back. So they all ears to anything other than going to jail. And then that's the next problem. You got so many OGs that that are maybe a little bit younger than us that almost glorify going to jail, or take off the stigma away from going to jail. Okay? Oh man, jail ain't nothing. All you gonna be to lift the weights, hang out with the homies, blah blah, and they make it seem like it's almost a vacation. And we all know that ain't the case. I don't know personally, but we know that ain't the case.
Okay, thank you, Brother T. West.
Oh well, yeah, I'm enjoying what brothers are saying. Yeah, well, I just kind of briefly say this. I remember when I was in grade school, and I had a first grade teacher. It was this white female, Miss Smith. She was fat. She was chubby. And I remember once in the classroom, I'm sitting back there at my desk, and I'm cracking jokes, and some of the students are laughing and all, and she walked up behind me. She snuck up behind me with a ruler. You got a ruler that's yay long, about 36 inches long, and she hit me on the back. The ruler broke and everything went splattering everywhere and all. Didn't hurt me. It didn't hurt. But oh my God, I was so embarrassed.
Yeah.
I was so embarrassed. Okay. Now, of course, if that happened today in the United States and in most school systems around here, there would probably be a lawsuit and everything, right?
Right.
So of course I wasn't going to tell my mother when I got home. No, I wasn't going to tell her. Because I knew that, hey, look, I was wrong. I'm disrupting the class, trying to be a class clown, right?
Mm-hmm.
And but it didn't hurt, but it did hurt. It hurt my feelings because it was embarrassing. Okay, so there went my my attempt at comedy. It was gone forever, I think. So that was one occasion that I remember growing up. So you had that in the school systems. You also we had a principal there. We called him. His name was Neely, and he had this crew cut, and his hair would stick up. He's a white guy, of course. His hair would stick up like needles, and we would behind his back we would refer to him as Needlehead. And so I had a meeting with him at least on 2 occasions to his office. And when you went to his office, very often it was not for a conversation. It was corporal punishment. You went to his office, it was a paddle.
Yeah.
Well, bend over, touch your ankles, pop, pop. Yeah. Okay. All right. So we had all that in school growing up. And of course, for the most part, you don't have that anymore. Okay. In the school systems. And so those are some things that that I can remember just growing up. And also, I first 11 years of my life, I grew up, we were mostly in a black village. It was a village. I mean, all black folks. And anything that happened, if you did something wrong in one area of the village, chances are your mother, your parents they were going to find out about it, and you were going to be punished for it. And usually, it wasn't a conversation from your parent. It wasn't a timeout. Go get in the corner. It was you was going to get a whipping. Okay, not a spanking. You're going to get a whipping. Okay, go out there and get me a switch from that tree. Okay, and take off those pants. I'm not going to be whipping any pants. So I ain't beating that ball. I understand. Mm-hmm. Okay, so all of that growing up, and that helps when it's done in the right way and done in a loving way. It helps to shape your character. And when you do not have any of that, that's going to shape your character a certain way too. Now, when my mother was pregnant, when she would be, because there were 13 of us. I heard my brother say there were 11 sisters and then him. Well, with us, it was 12 brothers and then my sister. So 13 of us. So, but my mother, if she was pregnant and she couldn't, come over and spank you or whatever, or whip you because she was pregnant all, sometimes she would say, go over there, get in that corner over there, stand on that 1 foot. And you stay there. So that was another form of punishment. And she had other forms also. Sometimes it was come over here. She would get those combs. Put your hand out, and then she would hit that hand. Okay, and that hurts. So these were forms of punishment. I only got punished once corporally from my dad only one time, and that was when me and my other brother, we were riding on those old cars back then. You had those running boards along the side of some of these cars. And we had sneaked on, my dad was driving off, and we had sneaked onto the passenger side of his car, and we were holding onto that side board on the side of that car. Okay. Then he looked through the mirror and he saw us, and he stopped the car. He got out, he went and grabbed the switch, grabbed my brother by his arm, started swinging him around and whipping him with the switch. And then that happened to me, and that was the only punishment that I ever got from my father. I said, "Nah, I don't want any more of this." So anyway, that's a little bit of my experience just growing up. A lot of that you don't have today. So with some children, especially the boys, but to some extent the girls too, the boys have less discipline. There's less discipline with them. So it's easier for many of the younger youth that came along later to kind of like get out of line, okay, get out of control. So, and oftentimes it's the force of men who are there that keep young boys in line. Yep. Mothers can, but a lot of mothers are more nurturing. Not all of them. Not my mother. Okay. and her mother, no, they weren't like that. Okay. But the mothers would be more nurtured. Oh, baby, come on, baby. And the boys eat that up. Oh, they eat that up. So you got to be careful about all that. All right, so I'm done.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Research.
Man, I am so seriously, and I've never said this before, I'm seriously blessed to be on this panel because this is very educational for me. I kind of see why I'm a unicorn in a lot of male spaces because we, even to this day, let me just say this. Let me say how it is today out in the Bay Area. The only reason other people have power in the Bay Area is because they came here with family money or they came here with national money or what I call flag money. That's the only reason they were able to get a foothold here in the Bay Area. Because outside of that, answering the question, we got a lot of unity amongst the brothers. Brothers hire brothers. Brothers pull brothers in. Now, not so much the younger dudes, because since the rise of what I call the Ronald Reagan woman, the Ronald Reagan woman used everything that Ronald Reagan created for her to be a god unto herself. And I don't even think she did it consciously. I just think any human being that had so much access to laws that Ronald Reagan put forth for them would just do what they did. When you go back to the 1700s, you remember when a child turned 13, the law was he had to be with the father, period. And when Ronald Reagan did all these laws and he undid what Jimmy Carter did in the welfare system, because Jimmy Carter was the one who said you have to have a 2-parent household in order to get welfare. Reagan undid that. And when he undid that, he gave them all these other things like the tax earned income credit, which was supposed to be only for married people. Reagan did all that. Reagan did a trifecta, and when he did that, that's when I saw the boys had no more value. Then you had women going around calling dudes dog. It impressed everybody so much that you start hearing Prince make songs and George Clinton make songs, dog catcher, and it was like a weird thing to be called the DAWG, especially in my area where, like I said, we was calling each other kings, queens, brothers and sisters, but it even infected our area. So I can just imagine what it did to other people's areas who didn't have that type of thing. So me interacting with young dudes, when you look at half of my friends from the Bay Area, they're all in union jobs. They've all pulled each other in. When you look at a lot of the sisters who grew up in this area, they're all in upper management. And that's why I say I must be like a unicorn, because this is what I'm realizing that I was indoctrinated with as a kid, even as a young dude doing wrong on the streets. I always had the thought process, let's go after power, because I'm realizing right now when I look at how I grew up, everybody from Sacramento, Roseville, all the way down to Monterey was on the same thing. You know, let's get some power. Let's get some ownership. Let's get some, hey brother, they hiring over here. Hey sister, they hiring over here. You know what I'm saying? That's how we was on. But like I said, when I took my first trip up to Seattle, it blew my mind how destitute Black men were, how very lost they were. They were trying to imitate white guys. They were trying to imitate Filipinos. They had no sense of who they were as dudes. And then when I went to New York was still coming off of the crack thing. And you just had dudes very competitive for no reason. You know what I'm saying? Just really tripping for no reason. Like right across the street, y'all battling. Y'all right across the street. Yeah, that ain't your bodega, California. Your bodega is down the street, around the block. What? I can't go to this store. Nah, you hanging with us, man. You know, you visiting. Nah, you can't do that. That's their bodega. Are y'all serious? You go to Chicago, it wasn't as bad then. Chicago was a little bit fly. Chicago, they was out, you know, kind of like Detroit was. They was suited and booted. And because I had money as a young drug dealer, I would get on the Greyhounds and go these places because I needed to defuse. But it also brought in my head because I was like, man, look at all these other places and there's all these other levels of the game that people are living by. So by 19 years old, I bounced and left Northern California on my own dime. I didn't need the military. I didn't need nobody to chaperone me through because I did what I was subliminally taught. And I'm realizing that today I did what I was subliminally taught. I got on I got on my warrior game and just went to a place I knew nothing about, touched down with a bag of money, got an apartment and started going from there. I had 30 days to make something happen. And so I think that's why I'm such a unicorn, because when I talk to my people on that wolf lifestyle, that's what I tell them. I say, hey man, look, you gotta be helping other brothers, pulling up other brothers in. That's why I said I'm a manager. I try to pull other brothers in, but I give them the talk first. Hey, look, you don't work for the company, you work for me. This is all about loyalty. If you can't understand that, I can't put my name on the line. You feel me? One of my very first corporate jobs, dude, I did not like. We had real beef. But when we found that we was at the same job together, first thing that man came to me, he said, hey man, I don't like you, you don't like me. But we here at this job, let's cancel all that and let's get this money. And again, that's what I was indoctrinated with as a brother. that it ain't about beefing when it comes to power. And then when I started dealing with other people from different other states and the stuff they was on just was like, wow. And then when I ran into some dudes who was really, really on that path of power and trying to attain, I ran into my New Orleans homeboys I got, a couple of New York dudes. They was really about that. Hey, man, got to be managers. You gotta lead people, make this money. And like right now, my group of guys, I'm probably the brokest dude out of my group of guys right now. Everybody is in a position to hire, fire, develop contracts. So yeah, that's what I grew up around. I grew up around a lot of network of brothers who wasn't really about stress and petty stuff. It was all about power.
Okay. And J Speed, did you answer the second part of the question when you made your statement?
Some of it I did. I think he was asking what is the difference but between now and then. I just pretty much gave it an overview, but let me put on my smart glasses to kind of answer that question, because it takes me a little more time to kick in, that brain. But when I was coming up, my father's seen so much things and potential in me. He got me out of regular school because I wasn't doing too good in regular school. Now, I don't know about y'all gentlemen. I don't know the first book you ever seen in regular school, but the first book I ever seen in regular school was Sambo. A little white teacher gave it to me. And the depiction of the black character in that book was so devastating to me, I ran out of the classroom. And so when I did run out of the classroom, my father, when he got back from his driving the truck, he told my grandmother he wasn't going to no longer send me to regular school, so he sent me to military school. And so I pretty much stayed in military school all throughout my graduation.
Yeah.
And so what I see the difference now, even raising my own son, that regardless of what you try to teach in the household, if your foundation is not good, man, when they get out there in that world, they've been shot at all types of places. I remember the first time that we all have this thing about our own children that we believe, they are much better than what they really are. And, I thought, I would raise my son in the nation, and I thought he was cool until I got a phone call from the school. And they said that he was walking around with his pants sagging. Now, you got to understand, my son, same place I'm from, North Carolina, what we know about sagging. And so I went into school and I told the teacher and the principal I was going to have a visit today because I'm working in Hollywood at that time. Sometimes we have 3 days on and 4 days off. So I go into the school without him knowing I'm coming there. And so when I went to the school and he was already in the classroom and I just slipped in and stood in the back. Yeah, I seen him with his pants sagging. And he didn't even know I was in the room. Teacher didn't announce me or anything. So when the bell rung for him to go to lunch, I'm going to say PE, I told him come here for a minute. And I told him, we go walk around, we go hold hands. He's like, Dad, you embarrassing me. I say, no more than you embarrassing me for me to even come down. And so one of the things I found out by my father, the way he disciplined me, he never put his hands on me. Matter of fact, my father never put his hands on any of his children. My grandmother and my mother and my aunt was the disciplinarians in our family. And I never got a spanking until I was I think about 9 years old. Because my grandmother, the way she disciplined, she would squeeze your nose, pull your ear, and stuff like that. She wouldn't use no belts or anything. She would just make you sit there. And just for her doing that, you just break down and start crying to see the disappointment in her eyes. So, but going back to my son, I walked around with him all that day holding hands. And I told him, I say, if you go act like a child, then I'm going to have to treat you like a child. And believe it or not, for the rest of the time till my son graduated, I never had any problems out of him. I spoke to a lot of his friends, and I looked in the community. As I look in the community today, there's really no direction, man. I'm just being serious. And even when you get on some of these panels and you talk to some of these guys, and they have the right to tell their story. Nobody can tell your story but you, because it's your story. So I let them tell their stories. But when you try to tell them, man, the same thing you're doing now, believe it or not, it can coincide in what we was doing then, but on a smaller scale. I look at rap music, and maybe like it's Zoe, maybe he can chime in on this. I don't see the difference between negative rap and blues. Blues in our days was negative rap because it was telling the negative parts of our community. That was our rap back in the day. If you want to tell how our stories was told, and there was certain population, especially the South, that was listening to that type of music. And I think it really impact a lot of other forms of music, because music has an escalation as it goes. But as far as the children today, I am a believer, and this is just me. I'm a believer. Anything that you can mess up, you can fix up, as long as you're alive. But it's going to take a lot of work, and it's going to take a lot of unity between all generations to fix this thing.
Okay. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to spice it up a little bit. What I'm going to do, I'm going to skip down on some of these. According to me, you know, my studies and then things like that from your generation, I want to find out. I think some people also want to find out as well. What made you have the courage to stand up to white folks? I think you guys are the main ones that really took it to them. BGS.
Oh, simple. It was me. I was actually transferred to a white school. So if you grew up as a little kid around little white boys, when you get to be an adult, they're nothing special. So for me, standing up to white folks didn't mean anything. Now, for people in the South, like Jay Speak, going to North Carolina, that's a different story. Okay, there's a danger that comes with that. But as far as I'm concerned, I've been an uppity Negro since I was a little kid, because white people don't mean anything in particular to me. They're just like anybody else, and they don't like being treated like anybody else. The thing is, so for me, it wasn't that big a deal. So when we stand up to white folks, it was nothing for me, because I went to school with them. So I sat next to them, ate with them, lunch with them. They were my friends, and when I went to school, so I grew up without that fear or deference for white men. So I don't have it. So I'm the wrong person to speak for me. Okay, because still to this day, a white man gets in my face. You just I remember you when you were a little white boy, so you're nothing special. And some people, sometimes they take offense to it, sometimes they back down, like, oh, he really knows us. But I see the difference between black men or black boys that didn't go to school with white people. They have a different relationship with them. They have an innate fear of them. Some do, some don't, but they have an innate fear of them. So I didn't grow up with that fear.
Okay, Lonzo.
You know what? I have a twofold situation.
Okay.
As a young kid, my dad cut lawns in Torrance, California, and Palos Verdes.
Oh shit! Okay.
So I was always, and I never forget this one lady. She had a beautiful house overlooking the cliff, and I was scared to death because there was no fence over by the cliff.
Yep,
okay?
I remember. I know that. That's real.
and my dad we had me out there cutting this lawn. I'd be terrified. I'm like 12 years old. He had me raking up leaves. I'm terrified to go anywhere near this cliff. Okay, And this white lady came outside. She saw me I was really reluctantly raking these leaves, and she came outside. I said, "Come on here," and she gave me some Oreos, and she was washing dishes. And I sat there and watched her wash dishes, overlooking the ocean. And I love to learn the view of the ocean. Now, fast forward from there to going to school in Compton, I didn't have a lot of interaction with white people at all until I got into the record business. My only people I interacted with as white people were if I went to Torrance, to the mall or something like that, or with the police. So I learned to have a disdain for the police because the way they treated me as a kid. But for the most part, and the record business, because I was in a celebrity mode, they always catered to me. So I never, I never had I treated them like regular people. I didn't have a fear of them. Right. I didn't have a super respect for them. I just treated them like regular people because I didn't know, I didn't know anything else. I didn't have that. I didn't get called a nigger until I was almost 16 years old by a white boy. Me and my brother was playing basketball at Gardena High School. Mm-hmm. He was he took our ball from us, and he kind of punked us a little bit because we had never experienced. This dude was crazy. When he was black or white, he was crazy. Mm-hmm. So we didn't really mess with him too much. We got our ball back, and he called us a nigger for the first time. And me and my brother was like, "Oh, okay, well, cool. Give me my ball back, whatever I am, okay?" And shortly after that, we had to leave. So, that was kind of my thing. And other than that, I had one other crazy experience. We were in Redondo Beach, me and my cousin, and we had our girlfriends and our kids with us. And some white boys rolled past us in a truck, pickup truck, and told us, "Niggas, go home."
Oh, yeah.
And we left because we were outnumbered. If that was the tip of the iceberg, I didn't want to see the rest of the iceberg, so we left for the safety of our kids. I never had a fight with a white guy, nothing like that.
I had a few.
I've never had that kind of situation. So
yeah. So the first time I got called by a white boy, he got punched.
It just in the white. And I went to Gardena High School. I hung with the brothers, so we had white kids in the class, but and I've yet to cross over with a white woman. So I'm kind of one of them cats that's kind of I'm my own unicorn. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yep. That's the California experience.
Okay.
Yeah.
And brother T West.
Well, I don't remember this because I was too young to remember it or know anything about it. But my older brothers or my mother told me a story of when I was very small, probably I'm sure probably less than 1 or 1 years old, in the store, and I refer to white men. If I saw white men in the store, I would call them blue men. Blue. And on one occasion, I just hauled off and hit one.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember that. I don't remember it, but I hit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, but that's the story that I was told. Okay, they know about it. They were old. They're older than I am, so they know. I don't. But I've always been, since the day that I can remember, I've always been such a person that I've never seen white folks as anything more special than I am. I've always seen myself better or as good as them. I've always seen that. It's not something that I learned. It was just a natural thing.
Mm-hmm. Hey, T West, when I was in a history class, right? And I had about 20 white boys cheating off my paper. So when you see white boys cheating off your paper, you lose respect for it real fast.
That's true.
Most certainly.
That is true. I only got into one fight with one, and this was in 5th or 6th grade.
Mm-hmm.
We were out there playing on the playground, basketball and all, and something happened. I don't remember exactly what it was, but he all often called me a nigger. And you know, at that time, growing up and everything, we had been taught the phrase words. What is it? How'd it go?
Sticks and stones.
Sticks and stones would break my bones, but words would never hurt. Everything, right?
Hurt you.
Well,
Yeah.
okay. Well, I wasn't. Hey, look here. I wasn't going for that rule on that day at school on the playground. So I whipped him. I beat him up.
Mm-hmm.
And so he ran off and told the teacher, and it was Miss Jenkins, that hey, he had gotten beaten up.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess he couldn't find me. He found my brother. I guess he's mistaking my brother for me. So the teacher spanked my brother. So my brother reminded me of that a few months ago. I had totally forgotten about it. I'm like, oh yeah, I remember now. Yeah. So, but yeah, it is. It's a thing. That's just me. I've always been like that, and I think probably virtually there were 13 of us. Probably all of us are probably like that. I think all of us, and I'm sure that comes from our father, our mother, but definitely our father. So anyway, yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Research.
Okay, so let me see. Started off the very first time, I think. Well, let me go to the first incident. The first incident of dealing with a white person was a police officer. And once again, you got to understand these Panthers had such an influence on my community as young dudes. Like Huey graduated from my high school. Let me say this: my second high school. The first high school I got kicked out, but he graduated from my high school, Oakland Tech. And the way those dudes indoctrinated the whole community with food programs and all this other stuff, and you got to mind you, these was dudes that was barely 25, and they just it really did a lot for Oakland as brothers and sisters. The first time I ran up in a white dude, one of the officers came up and said something to me when I was fifth grade, me and a couple of my friends. Some young dude stopped his car, walked over, and said, "Hey, man, what you mess with these little young brothers for?" He said, "These my nephews." I didn't even know the dude. But he started talking back to the cop in cop language. Well, you ain't got the right to do blah, 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 blah. Y'all gone home. We walked home. So again, I'm getting indoctrinated with all these examples of male power, male intelligence, being able to talk with whites on their own level. Flashback to school, I was in the gifted and talented education program. My German teacher told me, she said, it ain't no such thing as smart, it's recall. So I'm going to teach you how to be recall, how to recall real well, and your scores are just going to skyrocket. And it did. So when that started happening, I'm first grade, and they telling my parents, we want to skip into the third grade. Wow. It got my mother scared. My mother was like, whoa. And, she was scared on that country level. You know what I'm saying? Which made me like, well, quite naturally, you should ride for me. We're going to school. The whole point I bring that up is I'm in gifted and talented education. Now they're taking me over to Marin, and we competing with white kids. Third grade, we competing with white kids. And it's been like that the whole time. Like if it wasn't wrestling later, it was we leaving our community, we going to compete. And I think that's why I say compete so much with these folks and dominate them, because that's how me and my fellas grew up. The other thing is celebrities. We have so many celebrities, from Bill Russell. You would just see these people all the time, and these people are like pretty much approachable, because back to that Bay Love thing, we're not separatists, for the most part. Maybe these new people or these people born after Clinton, maybe they are. But the majority of us, I mean, I was just kicking it with Draymond Green at a condo party. I came for a Kwanzaa party. He happened to be at a condo party right next door. Hey, man, come on in. There's a bunch of people from Oakland. Come on in, man. Watch the game with us. It's just love. You know what I'm saying? So I'm always around that type of environment. But the reason I bring up the celebrities, these people will risk their careers, put money on the table to make sure we knew elements of the game. Before I even knew about the hotel game, somebody, I think I was 15. Somebody was trying to give me hotel game. Man, I done sat up here. We done did a program here at the library. You always had people reinvesting in kids. You always had them. Even now, I sit up here. I volunteer for First Time Fathers. I volunteer for Big Brothers of San Francisco. And I see the difference because now they're void of that challenge, especially the boys. They're of the assumption that everything will work out. Just pray on it. They're of the assumption that as long as I do what's right, the world is going to be fair to me. Nah, I'm here to tell you something really raw. That is going to get you really set back. Even I went against a couple of the female administrators, and I had to have a 2-hour conversation with them and some white administrators. I said, look, check this out. When it comes to the urban kids, even urban white kids, you can't sit up here and give them this lollipop fantasy that as long as they're smart and they stay peaceful, they'll be left alone. I said, I got 5 certifications, and I get screwed with all the time on GP. I have to curve my mouth not to say nothing to give these anti-Black people ammunition to put me in the crosshair. So that's that part. As far as the N-word, growing up in Oakland, man, you used to get savagely beat for that. Savagely beat. Because once again, I said, it used to be a blood territory before I came about. And because they got ran up out of there and there was no Crips, there was none of that up here. A lot of people who had that type of terminology, if you got caught with a flag, people would team up and beat you seriously down. It just did not happen up here. And the first time I had a white person call me the N-word, I had already moved to Seattle, had my own apartment, had my own car. And the funny way this happened is the white dude had showed me how to do a different level of warehousing that I had never dealt with before. And this is before I started working overseas. And I learned from him, you know. And then one day the owner of the company said, hey, look, both of y'all are doing great, but we want one of y'all to be the manager of the warehouse and one of y'all to just be the worker. So we're going to give y'all 1 week. We're going to evaluate y'all, and you take this half of the warehouse and you take this half. So I did something that I didn't realize what I was doing, but you know, I'm from the streets. What you're supposed to organize whatever it is you're doing. You're supposed to make product coming in, product going out. You know this. So I redesigned my half of the warehouse in an inventory way on product that was going out fastest, and then I numerically and through alphanumerically relisted all the product by a code name. So that way, when you did it, you know, before this was before computers, this is before all that. Man, the white folks were so amazed. They said, "Hey, man, you gonna be the manager." This white dude that was cool with me blew his freaking top. First time I ever heard, "You nigger, you blah blah blah," and I didn't even get mad at this dude. I felt sorry for this dude. I'm like, dude, you are so angry off this little shit. We still grunts. The title don't mean nothing. I even offered this white dude. I said, dude, I'm different. That whole nigga stuff don't work with me. Tell you what, you keep the title, I'll take the pay, or you take the pay and I'll keep the title. One of the two. Because we was cool before this. Man, fuck that, I quit. Wow. And so that was my thing where I learned that white folks just have this thing of, I don't want to mentally be one up by a black person. I don't want to be, and then from then on, it was on and rocking because now that I know that, and I know that you want me to respond, whatever. I'm not going to give you that. I'm going to take your true power away. Coincidentally, the company later, because hey, it was a Ku Klux Klan type of company up there. Okay, let's not play no games. But they said, you know what? Some people are complaining and blah blah blah. I was already mathematically ready, 19, and I said, hey, check this out. I'll quit peacefully, but here's what I need from you. You pay me out for the rest of the month, and you give me a letter of recommendation in my hand. I'm not going to do no more work, and then I'll walk out of here real peaceful. And they brought that within 30 minutes. And so that's when I realized white folks are willing to negotiate, and I can get stuff out of them. So the nigger thing never really played no part in my thought process because, like I said, we were indoctrinated. We had Frank Robinson from Oakland. He opened up a chain of Wendy's. We can go there and get hired. It was always brothers giving back. And as I think about it now, that's the solution for a lot of black males. And I've been saying it even when I was alpha male wisdom back in the day. If brothers would hire brothers and stop hiring women so much, and I ain't talking about just black women. Brothers hire white women. Brothers hire Chinese. Brother will leave a brother out in the dirt as far as hiring. And the only time he'll want to hire a brother is when it's time to lift something or do some janitor work. No, let's pull these brothers in on the assistant manager level. Those who can understand how to keep their mouth closed and not see what they see. Those are the dudes we need to start reaching out, and we need to go and get a culture of dudes who ready to be loyal to the male cause without hating chicks, because that's backwards too. That's just a waste of time. If you really want power, you got to sit out here and look for one of these Asians, these Indians to compete against and go dominate their situation.
Okay, brother, research. Before JSP starts, hopefully we get some more likes. And also, I think someone was asking what was the question he's answering. It was, when did you get the courage to start standing up to white folks? From for a boomer's sake, during that time. Some people, the reason why I'm asking that, because that was a very crazy time as far as race relations, with the whole whites only water fountain and going different places. So, they were teenagers or even young adults. So I'm just trying to get, an ideal, what were they thinking about? So anyhow, brother JSP. Or the ghost.
Okay, as my mic is unmuted.
We can hear you.
Okay. I guess for me being from the South, my upbringing was a little different from me going to military school. And I'm gonna just break it down for me. My whole life was based on my father fighting against power. And we know back in the 50s and the 60s who had the power. And everything around me was based on that. I don't know if some of y'all guys ever heard of Junior Black Panthers, but I was a Junior Black Panther in the late 60s, early 80s. This is not the late 60s, early 70s. But when I was raised up, I thought white people were weaker than us. Seriously, that's just the way it is. And yes, y'all ain't gonna believe it. Y'all ain't gonna believe this. But I'd never been called a nigger by a white person in my life. And I'm 60 years old. I only been called a nigger by a black person. So I don't know if because of me looking at them as being weaker, because when I went to military school, they had a boxing thing, and I was the #1 boxer, and I was the #1 wrestler. And I didn't believe the white person could even beat me in the ring till I got clocked by one of them. They fight different when they learn how to fight than they are just regularly. So I went in there with that superior attitude that, I will just clown on this guy, and then he clocked me, and then I had to wake up and understand when they are trained, they fight just as good as us. But it took a nice overhand right for me to figure that shit out. So, but anyway, when I was coming up, you got to understand, my father was born in 1909. You're talking about horse and buggy, man. You're talking about my father who drove a truck all around the Southeast and couldn't even read first grade, but he knows sense of direction. And that's the strength of black men back then. When they were short in one thing, they had a lot of other things to offer us. And it showed me that when I used to go with my father sometime on the tractor trailer, that white man would be talking to him and he would just look at him. He would look at him straight in the eyes. But my grandmother, she was the same way. She will always make sure she let me know from the beginning, you don't hold your head down for nobody. And see, that's the kind of era that I would grow up with, because you got to understand, my grandmother was she was what you would call an ambassador. They would call a preacher today. And so we did have white members in her church, her congregation, and she speaking to them just like you speak to anybody else. So I never seen the really difference. And you got to understand that we didn't have TV, you know, we had radio. We didn't have a lot of music other than Christian music. And that's the way I was brought up for the first 11 years of my life. And so I always felt like I was superior. The first time I ever heard, let me just stick with fighting against the establishment. When you look around, you had the Martin Luther Kings, the Malcolm X's, the Elijah Muhammad's, me going back and forth from the South to the New York. You had a lot of different things going on in there. So I always seen strength in black and unity. And I see they was fighting against the power, and we know who the power was. You know, you had black people fighting against military. You had black people fighting against police officers. Our whole struggle was trying to change the laws in this country to recognize us as true citizens of this country and have equal rights as same as the white man. So that's who we was fighting against. So I never seen a time in my life where we weren't fighting against the establishment. And so when you're raised up that way, and then when you come into military school, one thing, the benefits of military school, even though we had a chief petty officer, because the first military school I was in was Navy, you had chief petty officer who were white, and we had the NCO officer who was black. But again, you seen where when you put on that uniform, that's the team that you was going. It wasn't no black or white. Now, I don't know what it was in military. My cousins and uncles have told me different stories. But in military school, when you put on that uniform, you're a team. And so my thing is, as long as I didn't run into someone treating me unfairly, and I can knuckle up. I still can knuckle up even today. I'm a good knuckle. I can beat some of these 20 years olds in me in the ring today, because what I'm trying to say, I'm not trying to brag on myself, but these are the things I did to preserve my life, because I always know that this dark skin of mine was always going to be a target. And the first time I even heard nigger throw my way, not on me, not called to me, was in DeKalb County in Georgia. The job I was working for, the fleet maintenance department, where I put computers and decals on police's cars and design police cars. And the first time I ever heard it throw my way was DeKalb County was deciding they was going to integrate the fleet maintenance department. And me and this guy named Al McKeever was the first two blacks was going to be hired in that department. I was the first, because I come from military school and Denmark Tech in South Carolina that had this thing where they connect you with a job. And so DeKalb County, I was working for this guy. They call him Boss Hog. He looked just like him, always like a 10-gallon hat. He was from Loganville, and that's Klan headquarters in Georgia. And I remember one time when me and Al McKeever walked in the office, and he said to Al McKeever, Jay don't mind when I use the when I talk about niggas. Now he never asked me anything, never called me a nigga, but he was saying it in front of Al McKeever because Al McKeever heard him say it and he got mad. So he called both of us in the office. He said, "Well, Jay don't get mad when I say the word nigga," and he didn't ask me. He just told this guy that. So Al said they had wrote him up for dictionary because he was insubordination. And so we walked out of the office together, and I told Al, I said, I got something for you, my brother. So we had a unit that the special unit that the police use when they kind of like go in your neighborhood. They have this truck, have mirrors and everything, just like, and recording a device. It was, man, it had like 5 telephones in it. It's like a tractor trailer. So at lunchtime, I went in there and I said, Al, just hold on for a minute. So I went in there and I picked up the phone and I called the office and said I wanted to speak to the supervisor. So when I spoke to the supervisor, I told him, this is Detective David, and we got Al McKeever and we got Jay taking supplies out of the shop and putting it in a car. And we come to pick them up, and we like for you to hold them there till we get there. And man, when Al McKeever got back from lunch, we sneaked around the building. This man had a red face. I mean, he was about to have a heart attack, and he was saying, look here, they coming. They gonna arrest y'all too. And the reason why he was so scared, because of the supplies that we was taking from the shop, we was putting it in his car. Because he was building on some car at his house, and they had recorded. I made him think they had recorded us putting supplies. And he said, I don't want y'all to tell nothing about who y'all car y'all was putting in, who them supplies were. And I just bust out laughing. And then he said, man, I'm serious, a heart attack. You know how white people turn white, I mean, say red when they scared or when they get blush or whatever. So I started laughing. He said, man, this is not funny. I'm serious, a heart attack. He crossed his hand like he was in the Black Panther. And the Black Panther wasn't even out then, not the Black Panther the movie. But I just laughed at him. And he said, why you laughing? I said, look, man, you never asked me that I even like the word. But you go tell somebody else that I don't mind you using the word. I said, you my supervisor. But you know what? I don't like the word. And that man never messed with me again. And that's something my father always taught me. When somebody do something to you, you don't have to go off. And sometimes I have to check myself when I hear somebody call me the word black or whatever, because it puts me in another space, because I didn't come up like that. Now, I'm not going to be crazy and tell you I didn't hear the word in New York. I didn't hear the word, my aunt used it. But I'm just telling you the foundation that I grew up between my father and my grandmother who raised me. I never really heard the word in my household until my grandmother died and I started living with my aunt. And so my whole thing is that when I looked at white people, I always thought they was less as far as weakness. They was weakening us. And so I guess that's my story. All right. And it might be a lot different than a lot of other people from North Carolina and South Carolina, because they do have people do it. They look at me and say, man, you crazy. How you go do that? I ain't never heard nobody talk to no white person like that. And I ain't know nothing about no nation or anything. This is just the foundation of my father and my grandmother.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Speed. Yeah, so try to encourage people to shorten their answers a little bit so I can go through the questions.
I do apologize.
Oh, that's okay. It's your heart, it's your passion, so I appreciate it. Yeah, because I want to be able to at least get a full, go around as far as the subject matters and things like that. So here's one to really think about, because I was taking notes. The reason why I put this panel together, because I was taking notes and hearing different people say different things and trying to figure out what does the other side think, rather than having these little back and forths, because usually the back and forth, you don't really get much out of it. People just eat popcorn and have fun, like, ooh, he told him. But I want to be able to get some kind of intellectual conversation with this based on your time, because I wasn't there. You were. So one of the things I noticed is, I got a question that says history lessons of our contributions and experiences in this country is constantly being played down by the younger generation. They often mention that it has no importance to them today. So the question is, should they reconsider those sentiments, BGS?
Well, yeah, because me and Ron were just talking about it. Your history, going all the way back to antebellum slavery, still has you by the short hairs. We're still carrying out the patterns that we always did. I actually played something by Maya Angelou that she produced in 1968, and you could have had that same skit in 2020, and it'd be still relative, still relative. It still is. We still following the same pattern, so we can't escape history. We can't escape it at all because we're still struggling with the same thing.
Okay. Let's see, Brother Lonzo.
I'm right here. You hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
You know what? That's probably one of the biggest mistakes these youngsters make by not talking to a living library like these brothers on this panel right here. Because basically, white people have one play they've been running for decades on us, and it's called divide and conquer. As long as they can keep us divided, they can conquer us every way, any which way they want to, and they do it with us, the Mexicans, other white people, other poor people, other races. They in the Willie Lynch letter, they had us divided by age, color, men, women, children, the whole 9 yards, and that's what they do. That's how they play us, and until they understand that they have one play that they run very well. They like a lot of football teams. They got 1 or 2 plays that they do very well. And once they understand how those plays operate, they can find a way to counteract that. But as long as they are ignorant to the history, as long as they're ignorant to the history, they will never find an antidote to counter these plays. And that's very simple, man. They have to understand the history of what we're dealing with here in this country so that we can move forward.
Okay. Brother T. West.
Oh, well, that's a good question. Well, I'll answer it just like this quickly. There was, I had a conversation with my oldest daughter yesterday, and she said to me, she said, Dad, she says, my nephews and nieces, they're listening to your program. And she told me, she says, and that's strange, Dad. I never thought that they would, Dad. And I asked them, she told me, she says, I asked them, oh, why are you listening? And then they told her that, well, oh, wow, he says some really good things and he's very popular. Okay. All right. So, and these are 20-year-olds, okay? My children, nieces, okay? 20-year-olds. And what I'm saying is this: you have some youth who fit the profile that you described. They are saying that what the older generation is saying is not relevant, but you also have lots of them, these youth,
right,
in their 20s and 30s. Oh, they are tuning in, they're listening, they're learning things that they never ever could have learned in school, in the universities, things that they never could have learned there. They're learning from voices that are out here in the media, in social media. They're learning those things. So, and that's the message I think that we should project more often, because we've got a hell of a lot more of them who are out there listening, and they think that the message that's coming from the generation that's above them, 1 or 2 generations above them, they think that that message, much of that, is relevant. And then, but also, we have to also say this: there are some things that some within the older generation are saying and speaking on has very little, if any, relevance. We have to look at that as well. All right.
Okay. Let's see, Mr. Research.
So, when the white man knows your history and all this black understanding better than you as a young black man, you're doomed to work for him and be his service worker. When the white man is able to know anything better than you, and all you have is get the bag knowledge, within 5 years, 10 years, you'll be working for his son, because the mayonnaise man, the Latin man, the Asian man, they think in family dynamics, while many times you, as a young person, are only thinking in me dynamics. Single. What about me? I got mine, you need to get yours. You got to know the history of stuff, whether you agree with it or not, so that when you're in a setting or you're on a stage or in front of a camera or wherever, you're able to be part of the conversation and not have people whisper like, he don't know nothing. I know more African history than he does. That's my time.
Okay.
Hey, Cleveland, can I say something right quick?
Go ahead.
I'm looking at some of the comments down here at the bottom, and somebody just mentioned why are black people in the same situation since 1965? I don't think they understand that we have been targeted for derailment every time we were on a progressive move. Anything that we had as a people that put us on a road to a progressive move, to move up, was destroyed, was targeted. From the Black Panthers to the crack era. Every time we were, when hip hop first came around, hip hop is my lane. When hip hop first hit, it was a black enlightening, mentally enlightening for black folks. Public Enemy, Poor Righteous Teachers, and so many other rappers were opening the eyes of black youth. Okay, before they can get it up and running and get it going, they sabotage that whole movement and replace them with NWA. And yes, I was a part of that too. Okay, but at that time we were just chasing the bag, like my man just said. We were so busy chasing the bag, we allowed that to happen. Okay, now here we are in 2020. Okay, and we have another issue. Now the drugs that came in in the 80s came in from a brown country, Nicaragua, blah, blah, blah. We know the whole Oliver North CIA situation. But that was directed towards us, just like in the 70s when they decided to bring heroin into the black communities. That was directed towards us. Once again, we are in 2020, and a lot of our music is being directed towards us to promote opioids, okay? We, as black people, we control the cool of the world. Whatever we determine is cool, the world will follow us. We don't know the power of our control that we have over cool, and whether it be through music or anything else, once they can infiltrate that and make us self-destruct, and that's what it is. Everything they've ever done, they found a way to get us to self-destruct ourselves. So can nobody really be blamed for that? You can blame them from a social standpoint, but when it comes down to putting faces on it, you're only gonna have black faces, Doc. You're only gonna have black faces, and this is something that I've learned. Every time we go to war, we come back with a new drug problem. We have a new drug epidemic. Every time we go to war in America, we come back with a new drug epidemic. Okay, and most of those drug epidemics land in the black communities. Now, what happens when the drug epidemics land in the black community? We get a new hero. It's usually the dope dealer. Come on, think about this for a minute, folks. Every time we get we're the only people in the world that make our dope dealers into heroes. You can't name me a dope dealer that was on the same level, a white dope dealer on the same level of Freeway Rick.
Nope.
You can't name one.
Nope.
Lonzo, let me just say 15 seconds. Also, what Lonzo said is true about the policy. If Bill Clinton did not use the Patriot Act to lock us up for profit, you used to go to jail and get straight out because all they wanted was the real criminal. They didn't want all these little petty crimes. Right. When these for-profit jails came, now a white officer from Kansas moving down here to Cali or wherever, he has the discretion. Do I pull over my fellow white man who's blatantly drunk, or do I go harass these young teenagers over a seatbelt law and try to make it into something else? Right. The jail needs profit. I'm gonna go for this 2 for 1. I'm gonna let the white guy go by. That's exactly what Lonzo's talking about. The policy created.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Hopefully I'll try to do a panel where you have, I guess, the millennials, they're the one that's complaining the most, with some of the boomers so they can talk this out. Because shout out to my brother King Sigma. You know, they have these concerns and things, and I think they didn't really need to hash this out in, you know, some panels like this, you know, like America's Black Forum.
One of the things they need to do first and foremost, they need to denounce any rapper that's talking about killing black folks, selling drugs, disrespecting women in any way, form, or fashion. We cannot afford, we don't have the luxury of just chasing the bag, like my brother said earlier. We don't have that luxury just to go for the me-only bag, because we got too much work to be done. And if we allow people to keep on having us in their sights, every time we talk about smoking a nigga, smoking a fool, you're talking about killing a black brother. You're not talking about killing a white boy. You're talking about killing another black man. Let's keep it real. You're talking about thoughts and hoes. We're talking about black sisters. So as long as we keep on supporting that type of music and supporting that type of lifestyle, we make it cool. It's cool to our kids. We don't like it, but it's cool to our kids because our kids are a part of that generation that determine what's cool. You can't dance to this stuff, man. You can't even dance to it. It has no purpose. All it does is indoctrinate people's minds into a negative lifestyle that's only beneficial to the prison industrial complex. I'm gonna shut up right now.
All right, I guess I can answer, right?
Yes, sir.
You know, I think 100% they should reconsider, because, and I think it's 100% we should reconsider how we try to pass this information on too. I had to check myself. I was trying to ask myself what made me a good teacher of history 10 years ago and what made me so frustrated with today with the younger generation. And sometimes your frustration comes over when you're trying to deliver some information about history. And so I had to check myself sometimes. I think that if we go talk about history to the younger people, we're going to have to apply how we feel with some of that history to keep them from making that mistake. Just telling them about history and not telling them some of the mistakes that'd be like same thing if you got a PlayStation and you playing with your buddies and you're 19, 20 years old and he don't hit the crack codes and he know how to get through the whole game and you still on the first stage. And if he wanted to tell you crazy and you dumb because you can't get the game, you can't finish the game without him giving you information, say, look, man, this is how I did it. I used to do it your way, but this. So we had to show him that not only have we experienced some of this stuff that y'all are experiencing now, this is where we failed at. And this is where you don't have to feel that because we already done did it. Now, what I do say about this new game that people are going through now is it's the same shit, but different toilets. And so that to make a olive branch toward the younger generation and even some of the older generation. You got to understand, I don't click with all the old generation. There's some old fools that I wouldn't even listen to. I wouldn't even let them take me to a parade. And so, so what I'm trying to say, that we have to be as the ones who wise and wisdom. If we go carry that title, we're gonna have to lay that information out in not letting them know this is something you need to know because it happened. No, this is something you need to know because this is what you're going through, and this is how we fail, or this is how we conquer it. And so I think I leave it at that.
Okay. I had another one. Okay, so about this one here, because some of you guys are referencing music. So let's keep it real. Music from the boomers had to be highly advanced, from jazz to R&B, that type of thing. So the question is, how did music inspire the boomers? Like, for example, my observation is how bands, you had lots of bands back then, and then later on, people became solo, that kind of thing. And you had to consider how people were listening to things, whether it's a group mentality or a, I get mine, you get yours mentality. So I'm asking you guys, how did music really inspire you guys? Starting with BGS.
Can I have that one first?
Go ahead. Go ahead. Take it, OG.
Okay.
You got it.
All right. As a young black man growing up in Compton, the first thing, I went to Catholic school all my life. I was influenced by the Black Panthers. They marched down my street on a regular basis. They had a chapter not far from my neighborhood, and they marched down my street. I'm listening to Curtis Mayfield. I'm listening to Curtis Mayfield, Sly and the Family Stone, and everybody else that had Black revolutionary music in the 70s and 60s. Okay, growing up, wanted to be a Black Panther. At some point in time, Curtis Mayfield, the man that made all that stuff with the Impressions, People Get Ready, A Train to Coming, all those great Black revolutionary songs, he got recruited to do the Superfly soundtrack. When, up until the time he did Superfly, I was trying to be a Black Panther. I walked around with the militant, had a Navy coat on with the peace signs, the whole 9 yards, all that. And as soon as he did Superfly and I saw the album cover and heard the album, I never saw the movie. I wouldn't got my natural pressed and curled. I wanted to be a pimp. I was one of the first personal experiments of the music game. I'm a living experiment from that. From the time when Curtis Mayfield flipped up from social redeeming music to Superfly, I flipped up too. Okay, so as I speak to you as a 52-year-old man that went to school with his ears burnt with tape on them because his mama's best friend burnt both my ears like a Doberman pincher because I had to get my hair pressed trying to impress folks because I wanted to be a pimp, and took my army jacket off and bought me a maxi coat. Okay, I'm telling you how this stuff is, because what people don't understand about music is, like no other art form, music is redundant. Music is, you may see a movie 5-10 times, it comes on video, you ain't gonna really watch it, but music is where it gets to you in an indirect way. You ain't got to tune into it. It'll pop up wherever. Okay.
Remember Isaac Hayes in Shaft?
Yeah.
Everybody wanted a leather coat. That leather coat, like
everybody wanted to wear a leather coat,
like Shaft did. Yeah.
When you hear music is redundant, and you'll find yourself getting what I call a brain stain. You'll find yourself singing songs you don't even like. Okay, I found myself singing this song. I can't stand the song, but I found myself singing "I'm in Love with the Cocoa" of all the songs. I'm in love with the cocoa. I couldn't stand that song, but because I heard it so much, it was always around me. Okay, I found myself singing it. So you don't have that same effect when it comes to movies. Movies don't do you like that. You may see an image that you may like. I'll never forget when I saw Pulp Fiction and Ving Rhames had double earrings. I got my other earring pierced. Okay, I thought that was cool. I did that. I got 2 earrings right now. But it didn't make me go out there and start shooting people, though, okay? It didn't make me go start, but music has that effect on you because music sets that soundtrack for your life. It's infectious, okay? And it's cool. Life imitates art. Art imitates life, and music is an art form that you see is in your face a lot more, and especially nowadays when you don't have to ask for certain things. All you have to do is type in, go into a certain musical format platform, and type in a certain artist, and anybody that sounds like that will automatically be programmed into your playlist. So you'll hear songs that you don't even ask for because it fits a certain genre. Okay, unlike when we had Celestial Radio with KGFJ and K-Day, you had to call and ask the DJ to play it. Yep. The DJ ain't got to ask to play none of this stuff. This stuff just comes to you automatically, and because now There is no open air way of monitoring what your kids are listening to. Everything is personal now. So you have no idea what your kid is being infected with audibly because he got on headphones. There's no open air speakers anymore. They do, but they don't really use them that much. So all these things have changed how kids are being programmed. And yes, I say music is one of our main problems, because now you don't have to have any talent to make a hit song. None. Talent is not necessary. All you have to do is go to Guitar Center and buy you a copy of Ableton or any other program, go in your mama's bathroom and say something stupid for 4 or 5 minutes and put it on YouTube or Instagram or SoundCloud. And if it hits, you'll be an overnight success.
Yeah, the dumbing down the music, just like everything else. Yeah,
dumbing down the music. Okay, so the music been dumbed down, and there's no gatekeepers. So the gatekeepers of the game are no longer there. So there is nobody. And then you have platforms who will play music. And there's a young man, there's a white preacher on Instagram right now. Well, not Instagram, but YouTube. He does a speech about black music, and he asks some of these people, would you play music that was killing dogs? Nope. Would you play music that was killing white people? Nope. Would you play music that was killing Jews? Nope. Why play music that's promoting killing black people? And what we have sponsors, and we have an audience. So as long as there's a sponsor and an audience, they don't give a damn about our kids, man. They don't care. They don't care. And until we say something, ain't nobody gonna say nothing. It ain't nobody's job to clean up our house but ours. If I go to your house and your house is nasty cleaning, I ain't got to clean up your nasty house. That's not my job. I just won't visit you. Okay.
BGS.
Oh yeah. I coincide. You know, I co-sign what he said, and also what he didn't touch on. Remember the freaky music like in the early '70s with the
man, come on.
I want to do something freaky to you with Donna Summer, even Gladys Knight talk hugging what is it? Hugging and loving, getting with the kiss and that kind of stuff. Talk about sex, you know. And we have people moaning and groaning on the airwaves, you know.
Love You Baby by Donna Summer.
Love to Love You Baby. There's a couple of I want to do something freaky to you. There was a whole bunch of songs that came out like that, like in the early '70s. That actually went from the OG was saying, went from the anti-war civil rights music in the '60s and maybe up to 1971. I think the last vestige of that was actually Marvin Gaye, which is Inner City Blues. That was the last vestige of that protest music, and after that they killed all of that. And when Nixon came in 1972, he limited all that stuff. Basically, it was about sex music, disco, like I said, black exploitation with dealing drugs and stuff like that. To all that stuff changed. So basically, they reprogrammed all the people through that, and then right after they went to disco, and then we never got back to the protest music until the early days of hip hop. You see what they did to that. Yeah,
check this out, Doc. When I was a young kid, 16, 17, I was trying to do my thing, and I used to love black exploitation movies. That was the only time I really saw black folks on the movie screen.
Right.
Okay. And so at one point, the NAACP shut down the makers of black exploitation movies. If you remember, if you ever see Eddie Murphy's Dolomite, they touch on that in Dolomite, how the NAACP was coming down on black exploitation movies.
Yeah.
Okay. I, as a young black man, got mad at the NAACP. They cut off my movies. Okay, I didn't know that the movies were hurting me as a person. Yeah, and this is what we don't have right now, because
remember, OG, remember in '93 when Dolores Tucker and NAACP tried to do the same thing with rap and hip hop.
Yeah, she went all the way to Congress with it.
All the way to Congress, they tried the exact same thing. Well, go ahead.
They gave her a check in the job. They gave her a check, and she wouldn't sit down.
Yep. So they did the exact same thing. So history just repeating itself.
Exactly. They gave her a check and she sat down. Okay. But here we are nowadays. We have black exploitation music. Okay. We got black exploitation music in the ears of our kids like nobody else. Okay. Yes, white folks got crazy music too. They got some devil worship and stuff. But our stuff is mainstream. It gets to our babies. And the real crazy part about it is a lot of the parents don't have any discretion by exposing these kids to them in their cars.
Mhm.
Okay, I saw a post on Facebook from a friend of mine who runs a daycare, and she had to post a letter on. She posted this letter she wrote to the parents. If your kids come to school smelling like weed, I have to report you.
Mhm.
Why you gotta tell somebody that? Okay, you got parents that are of the mindset that everything is all good. Everything is good. Just because this is legal in California, don't mean you can have it in front of your kids.
Mhm.
I had to stop a situation at my club one night when I had a club. I let some people use the club to rehearse a skit, and they brought some kids. The club was closed.
Mhm.
I let them use my room to rehearse a skit,
Mhm.
but they were smoking weed. Okay, and I said, man, why y'all got kids if y'all smoking weed? Oh, my mama drank when I was a kid. You ain't never heard of a contact drunk fool. But if your baby starts coughing, you take it to the hospital, and she has weed in the system, your kid is going to end up in foster care. These are things that these new people ain't paying no attention to. They put themselves in a position because they think that everything is good. They've been taught that even from sports, everything is good. That's a good strikeout, Johnny. That's a good fumble, Johnny. That's a great way you drop that ball. And they're doing the same thing when it comes to life. I'm gonna shut up.
Yeah.
That's a great way you drop that ball.
For the unless BGS, were you done?
No. Yeah, go ahead. Go throw it to T. He has the same experience. I'm sure T can break it down the same way.
He's smiling. He got something to say. I know he
Yeah,
does.
he does. He's just
Yeah.
ready to go. Go ahead, lace us, T. Go ahead.
Got on that Kango
Don't hurt us.
style
Don't
hat.
hurt us.
He ready to go.
Don't hurt us, though, T. I know you're getting ready to go in.
No, I'm enjoying what you guys are saying. Yeah, and I got to say this. Then I got to go. I got my grandchildren are here, and then I got a program I got to get ready for. But I'll say this. You're so right, my dear brothers. Music is extremely, extremely, and extraordinarily important. And among all of the ethnic groups of the world, the Black ethnic groups are the biggest innovators with music and influencers of hearts and minds of people, not only here in the United States, but around the world. It just so happens to be that the United States is the incubator and the Mecca or the Jerusalem or the Rome, depending on your flavor, where most of it is being emanated from, and it's being spread around the world, and people are tuning into it. So as African Americans and as Black people in general, because when I say African Americans, you're coming originally out of Africa. If you ever go to Africa, you ever been to Africa, you will find that the music, the beats, and everything are just off the hook over there. So you understand how we have remade ourselves musically here with things, and the creativity here in America. When we understand that, we should also exercise great responsibility with it. Chasing the bag, going for the money, that should always take a back seat to responsibility, which ties into what Gab in the group was talking about in the earlier part of the program, which spoke to responsibility. Elders, the older generation, your responsibility with these things. Yes, we have gatekeepers, and gatekeepers do two things. They let terrible things through. That's a gatekeeper also. Or they let very good things through. Okay? Or they stop very good things from coming through, and they let the terrible things to come through.
Okay.
All right. Let me make sure that's clear. Okay, so it goes both ways. Gatekeepers can stop the good stuff and let the bad stuff in, or they can let the good stuff in and keep the bad stuff out, depending on the nature of the gatekeeper. So because we have so many geniuses among us musically in the religious area, because most black musicians historically, most of them, they all came from the religious perspective, from churches and things like that. The best, okay, the absolute best, and to a large degree, that still is the case today. The absolute best among us. So, but we have a responsibility. Because music is so powerful. I mean, music is so powerful. You got doggone horses that dance to music. I mean, they'll keep a doggone good beat to music. So music is just so very, very powerful, and it's used to influence things around the world. It's even used in war. When you hear in ancient times and in not so ancient times, when you go into war, you'd hear these big bass drums, boom, 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 boom. You hear all that, okay? So now when you see these young brothers driving down the streets in their cars, their automobiles, and they got these big boom speakers in there, and they're going down the road, you can't understand anything if the music is saying anything. You can't even hear that. All you hear is boom, boom, boom. That's all you hear. Okay, so and that's really an aspect of war. Okay. So we have to understand music and the purpose behind certain music, and who's pushing it, who's promoting it, whose name is behind it. Okay, what's the Israeli guy's name that pushed all that bad stuff, that bad music and gangster hip hop and all?
Which one? There was several.
Well, that big one, the tall one. What's his name?
Which company?
Oh, from Def Jam.
Yeah,
Tommy Boy.
I know it's
Tommy Mottola, Gary Heller.
No, the skinny dude.
Nah,
Skinny.
nah. Who?
No, it was a skinny.
Leo Core. Yeah, him. Okay,
yeah, Leo over at Def Jam. He replaced Ruben. Okay.
Yeah, tall cat. Okay, all right. So those are the ones who are partly within that gatekeeper area right there, and that music that they allow out there, that they're paying blacks for, and to push it out there among and put it in the ears of young black youth. Not only black youth, whites are picking up on all of that. They've been picking up on it for years. It's very popular among even them. Mexicans also, all groups, it's popular. Okay, so we have to be aware of that, and as elders, it is incumbent upon us to speak on it. And my two brothers, y'all, I heard you. I hear you loud and clear. It was a little funny the way you brought it across, but it is so true. So let's just continue to do what we're doing and continue to push and promote respect. Music is good, music is powerful, but we need to put the best foot forward with that music. So Gab, that being said, I'm gonna have to chime out here. But great program, great guest. I enjoyed listening to all of you all. Okay.
Okay. I appreciate you coming through, T West. But so we'll invite you for some more stuff. Once again, I got a couple of more questions that probably gonna really push some buttons to the people in the chat. But
can I answer this one first?
No, we're not ending. He just has to go.
Okay. Oh,
yeah, I have to go.
I appreciate you, brother T West. You always come when I ask. I appreciate you.
All right,
I appreciate you too, man. You bring that Samuel Jackson Kango hat style, the glasses laid back.
He just don't have the dashiki on today.
To sleep where they can listen. You know what I mean? Just hypnotize everybody.
He don't have the dashiki.
Make sure you come back.
I enjoyed you, brother. Love you. Hey, y'all take care.
All right,
appreciate you. Okay, brother J Speed. Actually, it was Mr. Research, I believe.
No. Let Ghost go because mine is going to hurt a little bit. So we need Ghost to be
okay.
We need Ghost to hit him with the with the nice because mine's gonna hurt.
All right. So I'm gonna leave some space so you can hurt him a little bit. Don't hurt him too bad. Just leave him with one good leg.
It's gonna be terrible.
Dollar Will, check your email. Dollar Will.
from a person who got into entertainment from music, and I can't remember all the quarters I used to make for dancing like James Brown, but I started seeing a change in music back in the 60s when the groups was coming out. You had all different layers in a group. You know, you had the girls groups, you had the guys group, they had the baritone, they had the sopranos, you know, they had everything. And then they start picking the superstars out of the groups, you know. If you take Teddy Pendergrass, if you take my boy from the Temptation, and you start making I now, and so they was at that fight in the 70s. A lot of people don't know this, but in the 70s, round about 74, 75, I was going back and forth to New York. The guys in the street was making plates. Plates are almost like 78 or 45, big old 45. They would go in these places and they would just, you know, MC on it and then take it and put it at record they used to play all the time, Dance to the Drummer's Beat. Okay, went through that era. But let me jump back to the 70s. Betty Wright made a song, Are You a Whore? I don't know how many guys ever heard that song, but Are You a Whore? Betty Wright. No, and so if anybody out there in the chat, just go ahead and Google. She made this song way back in the 70s. Okay. So back in the day in the radio station, with me working in the mailroom, WGIV in Charlotte, North Carolina, you had PDs, program directors, who put records on power rotation. And that's a record played. I say the hot 10 records are played in power rotation. They play hour on hour. So you might not start off liking a record, just like my brother was saying, Zoe was saying, that, hey, look, you don't like a record, but you find yourself patting your feet. They have this thing in radio, passionate listener, or I forget the other term now. And that's an age popping in. But we have this thing, we can get you patting your feet, even though you say you don't like the record, but we get you patting your feet. That means we don't did our job. And as for the DJs in the club, we pass records on to them from the promotional copies from the record company. And then so what happened to that part of it, when it came around in the 80s, a lot of rappers and a lot of artists are starting to want to get their independent labels. Then they start making money, and the major companies start offering them distributing rights. And so when they start offering them distributing rights, that means they would take your independent label and push it and distribute it on a national level. Now, that was a two-way sword too, because if they want to hold you back, if they had an artist same as you, you know they was going to hold your stuff back. So when it comes to this, you start getting into this music, you got to understand when the frequency change. Now that's going to be the kicker. When you start talking about all this subwoofing and all this other stuff, it puts your cells in rage. Now, this is BGS probably be able to go into this a little more deeper and a little more, give you a little more understanding when I'm talking about this frequency we dealing with around about below 60, 70s, 100, that sub bass, getting away from the 420 when the music frequency start changing. And when you play a song, you think it's just the words is freaking you out. Nah, that frequency is tearing up your cells, making you angry. Think about this, my people. My bro brought it up very eloquent when he said in war, they use music. Think about how they blast music, even in the Middle Eastern War, the first time we went there. But that ain't the first time it happened. It happened to us when we was crossed in the jungles, that the little Asians used to play music so loud and then come over and have somebody speaking English and tell you what you was going to eat for food rationing that morning. Scared the hell out of most of the soldiers. They wouldn't eat the food because they thought it was poison. So this game been going on for a long time, and I want BGS to go into about this frequency, and I'm going to leave it at that this has been one of the biggest change in our music more than the lyrics. Could you go into that, BGS?
Well, basically music and culture go hand in hand, right? And goes hand in hand with the environment. You saw the biggest change to music started in the 50s when it went electronic. Before it was all acoustic. Okay. Once it started going electronic, then you needed less people. The way you press and develop music was different, a lot different. And then you saw that separation again when the music went from acoustic to electronic to digital. So the thing is, your music is always dictated by the tools in your environment, just like OG was saying. OG can tell you, Lonzo can tell you, even though it was electronic, he did it by tape and tape decks, and it was a little bit more complicated. When it went digital, then it let everybody in. Okay, so the music changed, the lyrics changed, what comes out changed according to the tools that you have. Okay, what's his name? The guitar player. He changed rock and roll forever because because the electronic guitar was new. It wasn't invented till the 50s. Jimi Hendrix, right?
Yeah, okay.
Electronic music wasn't invented till the 50s. That revolutionized the whole genre of music all over the world. So politics, the tools that you use, all that is included. Okay. So yeah, the vibration, it is something, but the vibrations has been around for a while. That goes all the way back to Mozart. Mozart was experimenting with these vibrations and these tones way back in the 18th century. Okay, the thing is now you have the ability to reproduce it on a mass scale.
Hey, folks.
Go ahead.
Can I interject for a hot second?
Go ahead.
Along with being a hip hop head, whatever, I've been running nightclubs for the past 40 years, off and on.
Mm-hmm.
And I found out in the height of the gangster era, if I played gangster rap between 1 o'clock and 1:45, 9 times out of 10, it was going to be a fight in the parking lot.
Yeah.
Okay. And I realized two things happened between 1 and 1:45. At 1:15, you get last call. Okay. And cats go to the bar to get that last shot of Hennessy. Okay. And depending on how their chemistry is wired, some people get happier, some people get mad based on alcohol. Okay. But however you are feeling, alcohol will magnify how you feel. Okay. And I found that when I played gangster rap, especially 50 Cent, Tupac, whatever the case may be, Biggie, it's going down in the parking lot. But that same time, if I played the Isley Brothers or even the rest of the development, they walk out the club singing. Never had a problem. This is an experiment that I personally did because I had my own club for years at Inglewood at the Current Affair, but I moved to the Hollywood Park Casino and they had me on a no tolerance, no fight policy. So by the time I left the Current Affair, I affected that situation, and I made damn sure from 1:15 to 1:45 till we close the doors, it was only up tempo, uplifting, no heavy bass music whatsoever. We never had a fight.
Yeah.
Okay. This is a personal experiment that I ran because I wanted to keep my fight in the casino. And you were saying the frequencies determine, they make you angry. That bass is aggressive, man. That makes you want to just man.
You know what, OG? That goes all the way back to the Roman Coliseum. If they play flutes and string instruments, they calm the crowd down. If they come out with that angry bass drum and drive the crowd will actually go into a tizzy. So they've always known this.
Check this out. The best place that anybody listen to this podcast will understand how what we're saying. Church, perfect example.
Yep.
Okay. When you go to church and it's a funeral, that organ is real low and it's real solemn. But on Sunday morning, when it's time to give that offering, that something gonna crank up the whole nother tone, Jack.
You know, Lonzo, before you leave, guess what they do? They wind you down.
They wind you down. They
They
calm you
wind
down.
you before they
Okay.
wind you down. They calm you down. They play it low. The preacher's voice gets soft. They give you a message of love and peace before you go out that door. They don't want you to go out that door wound
And
up.
you're feeling good.
And you're feeling good. Yep.
On Sunday after
Okay.
Saturday when he went in the club.
Let me
Yeah. They crank you up. They crank you up to get that offering and get you all hyped up. But before you leave that door, the music gets toned down. The preacher's voice get low, and they cool
Right.
you out before you leave.
So we got
Yeah, I feel good.
we got Mr. Research and Dollar Will. I know they got their fist balled up ready to answer this question.
Okay.
all right. So this is gonna hurt a little bit, but it's needed to be said. Now you heard all the nice brothers say the nice stuff.
Okay.
Let's start with music first. And I'm talking straight to the millennials. I'm not even talking to the brothers on the channel. I'm talking to the millennials because you guys got to start being honest. You 30-year-olds and you 20-year-olds. You people who've been around since Bush W was president.
Mm.
What have y'all created for yourself? Because it sounds like you still eating off the breast of what other people have created. Let me give you an example. These brothers are older than me, but these brothers, their fathers created unions. They created industry. Like I made the example, brothers were hiring brothers, or you was able to go work for a racist man. At least it wasn't no overqualified at that time. Hallelujah on that. But those brothers created that. The white man just didn't give them that. Those brothers put "I am a man" signs on it. They created a lane. Then you get these distinguished brothers here. Okay, they was in the 60s, they was in the 70s, but they benefit from some of those jobs. And they fought against those German shepherds that would be eating at y'all by now.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, we
clubs.
Yeah, we were the people that actually got sent into the schools. Okay,
but BGS
to open up in corporate America, open up those lanes for you.
BGS,
yes, sir.
BGS. But what have the 30-year-olds created?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Let's keep going real quick. So no more German shepherds biting at you. No more hopping out of the car. What you doing, boy? And hitting you upside the head with a billy club. No more of that. Then you get to Lonzo. Man, you had all these cats created. What Lonzo created, what Egyptian Lover created. You had all these lanes. These brothers just said, you know what? Let's create a lane. Yeah, there's music, but let's create our lane. Lonzo talk about owning clubs. Let's create a lane. The Cubans is doing it. But what have you 30-year-olds created? See, I can look back at Lonzo's time and see dudes that was in the cocaine powder era running things, owning theaters. Then you come down a little bit more, 75, because now after we done survived Ronald Reagan and this crack stuff we trying to rebuild, you come to my generation. And I'm like, okay, what we did, we went against that nonsense. Now we rebuilding. Now we're becoming owners of a lot of music. Shout out to Percy Miller and the fact that Rick Rubin needed Russell and all these dudes creating lanes, making hip hop powerful, so you 30-year-olds can suck off the breast with your complaining self. Now we move down a little bit to the 90s. It was a black man that made this internet work. Let's be real. The ability to talk on this internet right now was created by a black woman who created voice streaming. You 30-year-olds are still sucking off the tit. So we had Jungle Brothers back in the day. We had all type of inspirational music, at least. It wasn't all it wasn't all the stuff that you can't even understand now, but I'm not hating it. This is y'all lane. I'm not hating it because this is y'all lane. What I am hating on is you guys are in tech, but the Indian and Pakistani dudes who own Google only have 4 black men working at tech. Why are you not making videos about that? Why are you not picketing about that? There's a black man needing your help right now because he said Mark Zuckerberg is racist. And he got a racial discrimination suit. Are you millennials waiting for us older black dudes to come with our checkbook? He's your guy. He's in his 30s. Go help him. No. You're complaining about what we've created and we ain't done enough for you. And okay. Because like I said, this is going to hurt a little bit. Since 1990, since Tupac died, what industry have y'all taken over? Sure, y'all in music, but like I said, you got Percy Miller and all these other people made it easy for you. E40 owned his own company out the gate. He made it easy for you. They gave you blueprints. What are y'all doing? Do you guys even have a string of incorporated barbershops? Nope. The 40-year-olds got that. Do you guys even have STEM research on lock? A lot of y'all got STEM research degrees. Have you made a union so you can keep out the Pakistanis? Nope. You're waiting for us boomers to do it. You're waiting for us to bring our checkbook because you realize get the bag money. See, I've been waiting to say this. I've been real patient while the other brothers were giving you the nice stuff. Because get the bag culture don't have enough legacy money, 20-year-old money, to pay for the lawyer it takes to make you a dynasty. Like I said, other brothers made sure y'all ain't had these German shepherds at your neck. So what are you complaining about? Other brothers made sure people didn't have billy clubs at you. Bill Clinton ain't locking you up. As much as y'all hate Obama, he defunded private jails. As much as you hate Obama, he ain't did nothing for black people. You ain't getting locked up no more. You ain't changing lanes inappropriately and spending 4 days in jail until you see the judge just so they can collect some jail revenue. See, when we was young, they used to take us to jail, but the jail be so overcrowded with real criminals, they just give us a ticket. Or they give us a ticket on the spot. Make sure you appear in court. Now, since you got private jails, people was like, you know what? We just gonna start locking these dudes up for anything, jaywalking, whatever. I spent 30 years in a DeKalb County jail for something I had already been to court for. Y'all ain't got to deal with none of that. So millennials, real talk. Are y'all taking over the railroad industry? Nah. Do you have some 30-year-old speaker in the transportation industry saying we're gonna take over New York train station? Nah. You got an older 40-year-old who has taken over UAW and made white folks and black folks get jobs again. But guess what? He's in his 40s. Where is your 30-year-old representative making a lane for you in tech? Crickets. Where is, and we on the thing of music, all right? Oh, so I'm down with that. Where is your musical 30-year-old giving Live Nation a run for their money? Lonzo and Ghost know about that. What 30-year-old? Y'all not doing that? Y'all, you looking at what Jay-Z? He's in his 40s.
50s.
Why? Oh, okay.
His 50s, yeah.
Okay, so the point still remains. You 30-year-olds, you still paint Nike's candy color and getting paid off of it, competing with Japanese. Matter of fact, Japanese have, because like I said, I've been waiting to say this for a minute. I've been real patient.
Go ahead, brother.
The Japanese are over there doing battle rap right now. Are you 30-year-olds over there creating King of the Dot, making sure they can't rap a lyric without paying y'all? Nope. Are you over there looking at the Japanese urban industry with all those Japanese buying things with black faces on? Are y'all running that? No, you guys are participants.
Mm-hmm. Korean singing K-pop, which is basically neo soul.
Hey, K-pop, y'all show me the young black 30-year-old that got a K-pop label and it's a major label over there. It's on a Def Jam level. So what? Russ came in when he was 25, 30? Mm-hmm. So show me the evidence, millennials. Because matter of fact, let's go to stock investments. Where is your Oakmont? Where is your commercial of the lion walking through a corporate room full of dudes selling penny stocks. Where is it? I don't see it. But you know what you guys are proud to do? You want to say what Zoe ain't been doing. You want to say what BGS ain't been doing, what Ghost ain't been doing. You want to criticize us for not working fast enough against crack cocaine. You want to criticize us for not working fast enough against Clinton. But here you are. Y'all been rocking and rolling since the days of Bush W. And you ain't created nothing for yourself. Very last point. I love our young brothers, but you so busy struggling with women, something most of us older dudes can care less about. Okay? Your girlfriend is willing to leave you and come suck all of us off tonight for $100, and you just don't know it. You sitting up here stressing about these black women, when some of these white women are taking you to the cleaners. Let's keep this 100. Some of these Asian chicks, look, what happened to the one YouTuber that's staying in a motel right now? And he spent like 5 years talking about black, and now his Filipino wife got him living in a motel. You millennials gotta start keeping it real, man. Y'all gotta start keeping it with your damn self. If I was to, I'm in music right now. Everybody else done did what they did in music. If I start getting real popular as an older dude, you know what the first thing you black people are going to come and do? You're going to come tease and ridicule me for being old in the game, but you're not going to do that to rock and roll. You're not going to do that to country. Nope. And even if I start saying something real prolific and real uprising and real just freaking fun, you know what you're going to do? You're going to ridicule it because some of y'all are the new Ku Klux Klan in the way that y'all speak. You copy these females way too much. Females want to have Zoe didn't look at me as I walked by. God, Zoe busy on the business deal. Ghost didn't acknowledge me as man, some of these women want to create war after war, colorism, then this, then that. I'm going to go back to what Ghost said. I'm so powerful, I don't even notice these chicks like y'all do. I'm too busy driving past them. But I just want to keep it real with y'all millennials. Go create something. Go to that Google that you love so well, on this YouTube that you love so well, and show me that you got stocks in it. And show me that you got Oakmont Corporation, that you done created a whole business. Y'all not creating no lanes, man. Y'all been sitting around here for 30, 20, and you 20-year-olds. Y'all, oh man, look, you 20-year-olds are seeking revenge on your moms. Every time I turn on the internet, one of y'all, you black monkey chicks, and yeah, it's like, what are y'all doing? The Pakistanis is moving y'all out. The Indians, the Chinese, they making sure y'all don't get jobs. And all you people will be like, man, you just got to hire the most qualified if you really got skill. Don't no Filipino care about skills. They care about bringing their own Filipino people in and teach them OJT, on the job training. They want to bring their people in. Well, man, I'm all about myself. You all about yourself right now because you work in HVAC and you make it 80 or 100 grand a year, fine. But again, you work for an Irish company. The minute one of their Irish cousins needs your positions, you out. And if you're not careful, all these other ethnicities going to take all the contracts from you, and you're going to have to leave Michigan and start looking at Kansas and see if they need HVAC. You can't do this stuff solo, man. So a lot of this talk y'all talking, I'm sorry, Art, for going down that river, but I just had to put some flame of God on it because I get so tired of this conversation when y'all should be warriors. Stop talking about what we ain't did for y'all, how we ain't did something fast enough, and go take over black tech right now.
Okay.
Hey, can I drop something right quick?
At some point, you got to grow up. At some point, you got to grow up.
Check this out, folks.
Can I get the mic?
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
So the dollar wheel?
Yeah.
Go ahead, dollar wheel.
Yeah, Nancy. Yeah, you done changed the whole flavor of the thing. You know, I didn't even come in here to get into this. All right. But you know, I'm that lone Aries. I'm pissed at both sides. Okay, I really can't take older, people coming down on young people for the structure that we didn't create. Okay, now I ain't gonna go on a long rant, but let me just say, everybody know I'm the stock trader guy, one of many out here, and I see it as economic. And as black folk, we're apathetic. We do what we must. Unfortunately, until the struggle comes, we will drag ass until we just have to do something. And that's unfortunately the case. And we coming out of the most prosperous bull market in the modern, or in the history of America right now. So apathy is going to be at its highest. Coming out of the 60s and the 70s, when that wave of black mayors start opening up good government jobs to us, we dragged ass. Okay, so we ain't in no position to expect this Cosby generation that we created, because this Cosby didn't exist. It came out of our imagination, and we sure enough produced it. And all these
no dollar will no.
Let me hold on. Let me. I got it now.
All right. Oh yeah, but we
hold on. I'm gonna be done real soon. Let me,
no. Hold on a second. We'll say this.
No. Let me
all right.
mind space, man. Until
okay.
I'm done. All right. Okay. Sequentially, that's what happened. This middle class we got, this is a recent thing, and it's a product of those of the fire, following King and the mayors that we had in the 70s. Okay, we didn't have these Prince George's counties and all that. And when the Cosby Show came on, we laughed and said that's not reality. And then we created it. So these 20-year-olds and 30-year-olds, they are the Theo and Rudy Huxtables who never had no struggle. They had a PlayStation and everything we could imagine. We gave them everything we never had. And of course, it made them lazy. But struggle is coming. This market, 3 months from now, we're going to be talking about something different, because this bubble, this bull market is going to be over. They're going to know struggle for a first time. And this myth these young people are under, that we are post-racial, that's going to wake them up. When it's not until you get to be around 30 years old that you train some trifling, underperforming white guy, and you watch him become your supervisor. See, in your 20s, you're too young. You haven't experienced that. And then you're going to watch you're going to get closer and closer to 40, and you're going to be like, where's my equal opportunity? Then they're going to turn the attention to the young people and start pushing you out when you get close to 40. So I think that, they're going to build it. But I just think that we got to, of course, shoulder some of that blame for their apathy. But I thought I was going to talk about go-go music and the crack era and music, like we was going. But that's all right. You got it, BGS.
I was going to say, that's why I played that piece about Chernobyl. Okay, every generation has its own suffering and struggle. Okay, it's no different. Every generation of black people, you can go all the way back to slavery, had to know its own struggle. Okay, the Gen X had to struggle with crack and cocaine, all that kind of stuff. Okay, it is what it is. It didn't stop. And just because you were born in a more generous bubble where black folks did have more, had better jobs, had more property, if things did open up for us, you're in that era, doesn't mean that you're not going to struggle. Okay, and whining about what we did or didn't do is not going to help you. The thing is, you wouldn't have had that bubble, you wouldn't have that comfort, you wouldn't have that.
Do you mean me when you're talking?
Huh?
Do you mean me when you're talking?
No, I'm talking about the millennials. In general, basically, like I said, when I was a kid, when I was like 9 years old, very few black kids went to a white school. Very few black kids even went to a white college. Okay, they had to open that up, especially in the South. That stuff is new. Basically, we had to get spit on. We had to get rocks thrown at us. We had to struggle with it going into foreign territory to open this stuff up. Even in the corporations, we had to open that stuff up for you. So basically, you walk in with something that's already made and claim that we didn't do anything for you.
Hold on, BGS. Let me ask. Was your father able to protect you from those rocks and protect you from those
Hell
spit?
no. Nope.
So I don't understand why millennials are saying, where were the dads? Most of us didn't have it either.
Basically, even if your dad was at home, where was he? He was at work trying to keep you fed. He couldn't protect you.
Yeah, they're going to get their struggle. We had ours. They're going to get theirs. There's no question about it. And they're going to have to respond, and they're going to, because they don't have any choice.
I mean, their idea of family, their idea of family is was a Cosby Show or these white TV shows, the Brady Bunch, where mama's at home and dad is integrated with the kids and all that kind of stuff. That didn't happen. Dad was working 10, 11 hours a day to put food on the table so we could survive. Mom was doing stuff on the side so we could survive. We were the original latchkey kids. It was just something they invented, because if you go back to the Southern days down when they were sharecropping, basically you had kids at home cooking food and cleaning up the house. There was no such thing as latchkey kids. You were on your own. This is something that has evolved. We basically boomers invented what we call the nanny state, the helicopter parents, because we tried to give to our kids what we didn't have. So you're trying to say that we didn't have it either.
And you know what?
There wasn't nothing Medi Ray for. Like Q said, we had to walk the streets, and some brother that got in, he stuck his foot in the door and said, "Come on in, brother. Come on in through the back door. Here's an application they're hiring over here. Okay, come on in."
And
go ahead.
And you know what? Here's the thing, though. Let's use Ghost and Zoe as an example for you millennials who feel that I'm being too harsh. Okay, I'm being too harsh. Now here you come to Ghost and Zoe. You coming in need. Do you realize Ghost and Zoe got a risk their reputation and or they money bringing you in? Do you realize that some of you guys don't even have a respect value for how you might mess up Zoe's name or Ghost's name, or put them in a conversation where they got to say something harsh to you they ain't never said to a grown man before? You guys talking about excuse. You also got to look at that too. When we do open a door, I don't know how many times I've had conversations with dudes where I had to tell them, bruh, I brought you in. Don't mess up my name. Go ahead, BJ. It's my fault.
Oh, so many of us said we had dads to guide them. The thing is that our dads, our dads, when they got home, we had interaction with them just like you guys do. It wasn't like, okay, it wasn't like you didn't have them. Your dad was alive. You had to go ask your mom about your dad. Okay, black men didn't blow up the family. Okay, those policies allow black women and white women to do that. We didn't do that. Okay, that happened. In fact, those laws that were put in were actually put in not by us. We had to fight through that. And guess what? You guys are not doing that. That boomers did. We actually took over families as stepdads. It took after the crack era, and basically these dudes went to jail. A lot of these black dudes stepped in to take care of you boys and take care of these families. They actually assumed the responsibility. Okay, which is something you guys are not doing.
That.
which is something that you guys are not doing. The thing is, you guys are ridiculing the women and the guys are ridiculing each other about doing something you need to do, because the black women back then got in line and shut the fuck up and said, we need to raise these kids, right? And the black man say, you know what? If you shut up and you guys get on the program, I'll help you with these kids so we can actually make this community better. We used to do that, okay?
Hold on. Here's the other quick thing, though, fellas, 30-year-old. I understand if you don't agree with some of these things, but here's one thing that none of us on this panel will really like, is when you say things like me, I'm not worried about the community, and then you go out there and those Italians or those Jewish people catch you up as a group, and now it's just single you against the group. We hate when you turn back to the black community, back to the established brothers, and say, I'm black too. Y'all should help me anyway, even though I was talking greasy that I don't need y'all. Come on.
Fact.
Can't have it both ways.
I don't know where that divide came between the young and the old, but it's been there a while. I mean,
I know where it came from.
Yeah,
I know where it came from.
I know on the job, and just for people listening, you know, I have to do this from time to time. People hear my voice, and I have to say, I am the youngest baby boomer and the oldest Gen Xer. So I was born in that cusp year of 1964. But I tell you, whenever the young folks would come on the job, it's like they're there 3 and 6 months and they're expecting to go to the front of the line, or they walk in and you're trying to tell them the politics of the situation, and they act like they don't know whether they should believe you or some white person. You're like, wait a minute, you sitting here questioning whether I care about you versus him.
Yeah, they call trophy kids. And we know where it came from.
Do you think over this internet that we got agents who are in some of these sites who are promoting some of this madness?
Of course.
Well, there's some of it, but the thing is that this is, you know, Dollarwood can tell you this was talked about in Wall Street Journal like 25 years ago about the new trophy kids or the helicopter kids that had this attitude coming up. This is not new. We went to the Dr. Spock book of raising children, this feminist liberal socialist way of raising children, and guess what? That shit did not work. It didn't work. Okay.
Ghost. I busted a dude from Turkey pretending to be black. I busted two Indian dudes pretending to be black. I busted a Jewish dude pretending to be black. Happens all the time,
right? On YouTube, right?
On YouTube, happens all the time.
Okay, now I got another question here. This might be explosive too, but here we go. You guys got the question here.
Don't stop while it's hot.
All right. Now, here's a statement. I don't need a man. How did this start?
My office, dude.
That started with Monahan Scissors when they started giving more welfare and benefits to single mothers. Before the 1960s, a single mother couldn't get welfare or any kind of benefits. She was out of luck. If she didn't have a husband, some kind of husband, she couldn't get anything, right? They didn't start that till the 60s, allowing independent women to actually have benefits from society. That's when it started. This independent woman shit.
Well, media helped out because back during the it may have happened before.
Oh no! Well, you know, basically,
I haven't said it. I was linking that to something else.
It goes all the way back to Bernays and Bernays and the Torches of Freedom back in the 1918 when they were protesting for voting rights. So that's where the independent woman really started. If you want to go all the way back to where its initial beginning.
Yeah. Okay, what I was saying is this a modern version that we're dealing with of I don't need a man, I can do everything for myself. It seemed to amp up in the 70s during that black exploitation era where media created the
purpose.
The B word that women are called.
It's on purpose. The Nixon administration, after all these years, actually told you two things they wanted to kill. They wanted to kill the civil rights movement with the black men and the anti-war movement with the white men. So that's where feminism, all this stuff came in at the same time in 1972 or 1970s with the abortion laws, with no-fault divorce, with all this stuff came in because they wanted to tamp down the men. That's where it all came from.
And they got Hollywood with all the female talk shows. When back in the day we had Michael Douglas, Donahue, and then Explosion came in the 80s when they started having Oprah Winfrey, Sally Jasperell, Jenny Jones, and then you had Clientele Montel, who probably was the best female talk show on the airway other than Oprah.
Williams.
Yeah, and the only time he ever flexed his muscle is when any man said anything against what he was saying. Then he goes back and talk about how he was in special forces and all that. But other than that, his whole, I would say, his demographic was women, and he coattailed towards them. And so when you understand that, as far as Hollywood playing a role in it, And that's when you start hearing words like all men's are dogs. I don't need no man. And this is when you start hearing it national on TV. I'm pretty sure it started way before that, as BG has said. But then you start seeing Hollywood get into it. And so, you know, you say you didn't need no man and all men's are dogs. I tell you exactly what happened. They got your ass out of the household and put your ass to work. And then they showed you what you produce. And now you going home, you got a lot of women going home being scared of their own children, their male children, because that's what happens when you don't have that balance in the house. And that's all I had to say to that before I get cracked across the head for that statement.
So the show, before anybody else answers, the show Claudine and I mean the movie Claudine and the show Julia, did that have an effect? You think as far as that starting the wave?
Oh yeah. Basically the well, at least she was a widow. But the thing is, yeah, that was a single mother wave.
Okay.
For Black people, yeah. As far as it's because you never seen it on TV before.
Yeah, but that image.
Can I inject something right quick?
Go ahead.
You know, my brother that was speaking earlier about these the 20-year-olds that are not producing anything.
Mm-hmm.
I want y'all to think about something right quick. Here we are in 2020. Weed has been legal medicinally for what, about 10 years now?
Yeah, somewhere in there. Yeah.
I've been, like I said before, I've been running nightclubs for the past 40 years off and on. I've seen a trend of complacentness like I've never seen before when weed became more accessible.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Anybody on this panel knows weed from back in the day?
Yeah.
That one thing you had to do to it before you could smoke it was do what? Pull the seeds out of it.
Right.
Okay. The weed we have nowadays, these kids have nowadays, have no seeds. They're basically smoking genetically modified organisms. Okay.
Oh yeah.
THC level is high as hell. Okay.
No, it's not bath salt.
No, what I'm trying to say, it's got so many chemicals in it that you can call it bath salt.
No, there's no chemicals in it. What they're doing is hybridize it where there is.
That's what I'm saying when I say that it was made in a laboratory. Go ahead.
No, they perfect.
Even back in the day, when we got some good weed like some Tide Stick or some Columbia Gold, we didn't want to do shit. Okay, weed is one of them drugs that make you just want to kick back and relax. You don't want to fight nothing. You will never hit a term. I'm gonna finish this joint and whoop your ass.
No.
Right.
Okay? You ain't gonna never hit that term. Okay,
finish this joint and I'm gonna laugh like hell.
Okay, so as you think about this for a minute, we talking about social issues right here.
Mm-hmm.
These kids nowadays, they don't get high, they get sedated. Okay, they become complacent. Video games is the new television. They can interact with their friends. That's their social media, the whole 9 yards. They can talk to kids around the world, smoke a joint, eat a pizza. And Chuck D once said this, that the goal of the American society is to extend teenage years well into their 30s. Yeah. Okay. So by the time you get 31, 32, you got a couple of kids and no chance of doing anything else. You pretty much got to succumb to what the hand that life given it dealt you at this point in time. So I think that's what we see some of that as well, folks. And like I said before, as I sit back here and I watch and listen, and I'm involved in a lot of stuff, I see us fighting to bring more distractions to our community through this marijuana situation. I don't trust me. I just smoked a many a joint in my life, but most of my shit was back in the day. Okay, this shit they got nowadays, it's not even real weed. It's just some shit. First of all, weed ain't addictive. This new shit is addictive. Okay, I don't know whether it's the blunts, the weed, or what, but folks can't function without it.
Oh yeah,
combination.
That ain't natural.
They perfected how they grow weed, and basically, the THC in weed is ridiculous. The thing is, it doesn't even look like goat-style weed.
So let me
exactly. So anytime you can't throw something in the ground and get it and grow from a seed, you gotta. It ain't natural. When you try to grow, this new weed produces no seeds, and the seeds that it does produce, it's they're sterile. Okay, so you got to produce them from a clone, which is the same thing as cloning animals. Okay, a clone sheep could not fuck a sheep and get another sheep. It ain't gonna happen.
Hey, OG, your watermelon don't have seeds in it anymore.
And that's why I don't get none without.
Gotta have a
Without.
seed.
If you eating seedless watermelon or seedless grapes, you eating bullshit.
Yeah,
Okay?
hybrid. You eating hybrid genetic food. And where I live at, I have to call the corporation Superior Market every year to make sure they have a good supply of watermelon with seeds in it.
Yeah. And all the
Okay.
watermelon comes from Mexico now. That doesn't come from the United States anymore.
But see,
here we go. Go ahead, Zo.
Go ahead. If we don't tell them this, they don't. We the ones that we remember spitting out watermelon seeds. We remember getting a shoebox and separating the weed seeds. They were never exposed to that. So unless they talk to us and let us inform them of what real is, because right now this is their reality. Okay, this is the same thing with their music. This is their reality. They don't. Most of them look at Tupac like Tupac might as well be Elvis, as far as they're concerned.
So let me ask you this then.
Yes. Yeah.
Let me ask you guys this then. So by that being said, you know, we're dealing with like these cartoon movies, like these comic book movies. They playing video games, and you got the girls getting all into the whole slut culture and stuff like that, especially on videos. Would you say that the weed today kind of enhances their ability to be hallucinating?
Absolutely. Let me just marry the two. So absolutely, even VR. Let's put that in there. Okay, we can even put the weed to the side of the game. Let's put VR. But let me go back to the weed because I wanted to say this one thing. So me and my homeboy, we growing weeds out of buckets. We got CO2. We got lamps. We got to separate these males from the females. Now, I got a homeboy that has unionized all the growers. He ain't black. 30-year-olds, 20-year-olds. Type in Weed Union 1776. Dude that made a union. 30-year-olds. While y'all being the servants, y'all like, come on, man, let me just go work at your union. Let me go and service you. Let me go be a worker. See, these people coming in and they create. I know an Indian dude I just met maybe like 4 months ago. He done came here to India, done got black man to talk like a brother. Him and his sister done created a bakery and got Saudi Arabia funding. Where are you, black man? 30-year-old, 20-year-old. Where are y'all? I'm not saying y'all not doing it, but you guys start taking over. Now, going to Art's question. Art, here's the thing. Sex video games are the new thing. Is the black man controlling it? Is the black man taking young 18-year-old programmers and doing a company out of his garage? Nope. It's all the Indians, all the Asians. The black man who knows how to code, he said, "Can I work for y'all?" We got to stop that one.
Yeah,
we got to stop that one. Let's go to VR before I pass the mic. Let's go to VR. Forget weed. Wait till VR really start hitting, Art. You're going to see straight up zombies who are not used to light, not used to sunlight.
So that's vapor, right? Vapes?
No. VR that you put over your eyes.
Virtual reality.
Virtual reality. Okay. My bad.
That you put over your eye. They just can't afford it now. Wait till it gets. Wait till those get really affordable. These dudes are going to be allergic to sunlight.
But isn't that the technology that they use in the military?
They have, but the thing is, it's not that extensive in the military.
It's not a culture, is what I'm saying. It's not something you run to when you got fired from work. It's not something you run to just because this worthless Instagram model don't want to give you the phone number. When it gets to that point, I personally, I'm going to reinvest. I'm already looking at right now. My homie told me, and I ain't gonna get a name because I'm trying to keep it close to the vest. But my homie told me his doctor put him on a drug. Going back to what BGS says, to counter the effects of the weed that they putting out now.
Wow.
Yep.
He said, my homeboy said, man, I didn't even know they got a script for this.
Yep.
He said, but the doctor said a lot of people got it now. See, that's the level of the game I'm gonna be at. I'm gonna be your counter effect weed man.
But we're gonna be hurting because we don't have enough of our boys in STEM.
Um,
Not enough. I mean, let's put it this way, Art. Let's put it this way, and this is a societal problem, right? And you've heard me say this before. In 2001, the Chinese said we're going to produce 1 million programmers and 1 million engineers every year, and they've been doing that since 2001. Okay, the United States said we're going to outsource it. In other words, we don't want to spend the money to develop it in house. We're going to let the Chinese and the Indians do it and the Pakistanis do it. We're going to let them educate these kids. We're going to bring them in after they're grown, so we don't have to spend the money to do it. So it's not just a millennial thing. It's a twofold thing. But the thing is, at the end of the day, millennials, this is your world now. It's not ours. Okay, you're sitting here on at watch. Okay, this is your society now. Okay, everybody, Xers and the boomers, we've already passed. Okay. So basically, we're doing cleanup work right now. But the thing is, right now, it's your society. What are you doing with it?
Art.
Yes, sir.
And I know BGS would know about this. I live close to one of the biggest flea markets in California. And I just went there Thursday, and they had VRs over there with what they call flashlight. I don't know if any of you brothers ever heard of what they call the flashlight. That is the, I guess, the opposite of what women use as dildos.
Oh yeah,
they got these flashlights.
Flashlight.
Yeah, flashlight.
Yeah.
So they have these things that you put over your eyes, connected to the internet, to certain website where you have the visual of a real woman, and you put this flashlight over your private parts. And this is the kind of sex that this new generation go out to deal with, because they don't want to be dealing with no women in the first place because they're too much problem. The ones who not go jump the fence. And it was just looking at that, man. And that's not even talking about the robots that the Japanese and the Chinese and all these other people got coming now. Very soon, in a store near you, you will be able to go and order a robot in the form, shape, personality, and everything you like, who would have parts that will move just like a woman's part.
Really?
So this is where we're going at, people. I don't know if
this is just an intermediary step. The next step is going to be matrix level, where you jack in and you experience it through your brain. And
but hold on, Ghost. Are there any black males controlling that, managing that, or got a company? This is something I got to keep saying for those people who are listening.
Hell
as
no.
much as what Ghost just said, there's not a lot of black dudes running it. So why don't you go get in and stop worrying about what we didn't do for y'all, and stop making videos about these chicks?
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, going into that, based on the boomers' philosophy, as we could say, probably, what makes a man the man? Back then, what were the standards? Because I know it's way different today. What was it? Clothes, chicks?
No. You're strong enough to take care of yourself and others. That's what that was the baseline of being a man. If you don't have to do it. The thing is, are you capable of taking care of yourself and others?
Very well said.
And I think it's connected to what you were saying earlier too, Art, that if you think about this, it's not how many times you got knocked down, it's how you got back up. You know what I mean? And so we was fighting against military, police, and everything else, and we had to keep our manhood pushing forward. And I see some of the younger generation is pretty much said they defeated by their own woman. Now think about this. We was fighting against police, army, political arena, and everything else, and we kept it going. Even though we took some defeats, but we kept it going. If I listen to some of these young guys today, they're saying they're totally defeated. They don't want to have nothing to do with their women. They want to jump on the other side of the fence, don't have anything to do with them or whatever. They ain't talking about marriage, keeping a man. When I was coming up, is a man provided the necessities for his family, regardless of how he had to do it, how he had to degrade himself sometimes to do it, because he know whatever he was doing now was going to make a better generation later. So he had to put up with a lot of BS.
On the behalf of these younger brothers, though, they would probably ask you, you know, did you have opposition from these women back then, like these guys do now?
All day long.
No.
All day long. But it's a different being. Look, Art. It's a different being hit by a sagging breast versus being shot by the damn shotgun outside your house. So the sagging breast, you could take that for a while, the hollering and screaming or this and that. But when you go outside, you got somebody burning a cross, or you don't heard about somebody got thrown in the river, or somebody got hung.
Yeah,
that's the fight you had. That was the number one fight. I'm not saying we weren't trying to take care of two fronts, but you had to focus on the one that was most dangerous for you. That was in my case. I don't know about other people.
It was the struggle was there, but it wasn't anywhere near what it is for these black girls coming up now. They're on some different stuff, some way different stuff. So basically, I saw it coming up when I saw the power struggle start when I was in my 20s and I was dating. I had relationships. Okay, it just got worse. So a lot of the stuff that these women are on, like what happened with Lizzo in concert, right? Okay, that means these women are way off the chain, man. These women are gone. Okay, so I can't blame the brothers about deselecting or selecting certain kinds of women. The older women are not checking these young girls like they should. They're not doing it. Back in the day, they would. I could tell you in my family, okay, with my daughters, okay, I don't have to check them with certain things. The women check them. My mother, her aunts, her relatives, even family friends, they check her. Okay, these women.
Hold on.
Checking these women.
Hold on. Got a question for you. In this council culture, who would have the power to check them and not get canceled? Because everything is okay in America today. Fat asses on at the basketball game. You better not say nothing. You better not say nothing about anybody that's like if it's the same gender loving as they call it, homosexual. You better not say nothing about that. You're gonna get canceled. How do you deal with that?
I mean, they just had to. Edward played something last night. That was on his panel, right? This own network where you had a group of women talking about interracial marriage. You had a transgender woman right smack dab in the middle of it that would have never happened 20 years ago.
Okay.
Saying that I'm a woman, talk about a black male female relationship. Are you kidding me?
See, so the way I answer that is, anybody can cancel them. It's a two dynamic. You can't be passionate about wanting to upend a female in front of a camera. That's number one. You gotta if you're gonna talk about that particular topic, you gotta talk about it from a human being standpoint. Like, see, that's why brothers I deal with, we just can't interact with those type of women. Period.
There you go.
Well, you know what? I listened to Dr. Boyce Watkins also, and he spoke on it not from the aspect of her doing what she did in front of the Lakers and all those kids, from a health perspective. Baby, you looking at type 2 diabetes, okay? And this is the part that people don't understand. The people that promote all these unhealthy lifestyles, they don't give a damn about your ass, whether you're a record company, whether you're an artist, or whatever the case may be. If she had a heart attack today, her records will go through the roof. Somebody gonna make a whole lot of money. Okay.
So I don't care about the Adina Howards, the Truth Hurts of the world, the Lizzos. These people are temporary people. Let me just say this.
They said it in 1993. Guess what
Go
happened?
ahead.
The other part of what I'm saying is that also when we do get a strong, articulate person in front of a camera, we got to stop these dudes from jumping in on the woman's side in these chat rooms, in these cameras. If BGS, if Zoe come up, if Ghost come up and say something and you disagree, don't you be the male voice talking about, see, Ghost, he just one of those brothers who don't want a woman to shine. No, the strength of stopping a lot of this stuff is making sure that when somebody does say something and it's to the point, we don't sit up here, take the anti-male position. Just do what the Indians do. The Indians don't like the governor of Louisiana. He's an Indian. The Indians don't like him, but you'll never hear them say nothing in public. They just vote him out and make sure he ain't part of the cookout no more.
Right. Sidebar now, conversation.
What you said earlier about them not being temporary, you're absolutely correct. The only problem I have with them is they leave long-term effects. Everything. NWA was temporary. Tupac was temporary, but they leave long-term effects. That's the problem. They leave a wake of disaster behind them, because now it's going to be a chick come out in the next 4 or 5 months going to make Lizzo look like Twiggy. Okay, and Lizzo does the same thing for big chicks that Biggie did for big dudes. Okay, Biggie made big dudes fashionable. Okay. And I don't know if he had any diabetes, but he showed signs he was having some breathing problems. Okay,
most certainly. So he sounded like a Clydesdale horse after he took some Buckwise.
Okay,
after he took some Buckwise containers to the shop or something.
See what I'm saying? So if we have to look at it not just from the social aspect, from the health aspect, and it also does go back to the money, because if they can promote that unhealthy lifestyle. When you live in the hood, look around the hood. I'm in LA. Look around LA. Look how many 7-Elevens and DaVita kidney dialysis places around there. 7-Eleven sells 3 things: sugar, salt, and tobacco, and alcohol on the side. Okay, we got that all over the community. Sugar, salt, and tobacco are the main things that come out of 7-Eleven. But then you look at on every corner and every shopping center, there's a kidney dialysis center. Okay, because we suffer from diabetes. Diabetes is taking us out left and right. And these are the kind of things that people don't really trip on too much. They look at it from the surface, but it's deeper than just the surface. It ain't just about her fat ass. It's about her bad ass kidneys. It's about her high blood pressure. It's about her sugar levels. And if she mess around and had a stroke or whatever, they wouldn't give a damn. They're gonna feel sorry. They're gonna have some memorials, blah blah blah. But her record stream's gonna go through the fucking roof. They're gonna have a big ass funeral, and she's gonna make money because artists always make more money after they dead.
But hold on. When we get these people that come in the mainstream and they talk for us, or they make a Brian Banks movie for us, or they do what 50 did with this Law movie, or whatever, dudes got to start supporting their own image. Let's keep that 100. Too many dudes support the thought image before he'll support his own image. Remember when having a rap career, when starting a rap career at 28 was laughed upon? When Jay-Z came in, everybody's like, oh, he's 28. Now, your average mumble rapper can come in at 35 and be okay.
And ride a tricycle in a damn commercial or big wheel.
So we got to get behind
there riding big wheels at 30-something years old.
So we got to get behind those people who do come about after this conversation or next year or whatever, who is speaking for our interests. If nothing else, you need to be like, hey, no. We got to have equality. Let his thought process, let him ride. But he talking down to women. No, he's saying something from a man point of view that you can't understand. We need to start saying that type of thing.
I forgot to ask a very important question, because the criticism about boomers, it sounds like they have it across the board. Would you guys be able to break down the difference between white boomers and black boomers and what they contribute or what have you? Because I think that has not been talked about.
Money and policy. Money and policy. They set policy and they have money. And code. We react to it. Folks. Yeah, me too.
Please, I gotta get ready to roll, Doc. They're looking for me. But before I go, I want to promote my YouTube channel. NWA Stories with Lonzo on YouTube. NWA Stories with Lonzo on YouTube. I'm on Instagram, Real Lonzo NWA. folks. It's been a pleasure, folks. I'm glad I feel energized. I'm looking at some speeds out here. They mad at us though.
Don't worry about it. You put
mad
some
at
juice in the room. You put a lot of juice in the room.
Probably be mad at
You
me.
know, but it's like the NAACP did me. I didn't appreciate them when they did it because they were doing it for my best interest. Sometimes you need a good ass whooping, whether it be verbal or somebody put hands on your ass, okay?
They'll
Right,
And we did all that today, fellas. Please, we'll talk later, okay?
All right,
Appreciate you,
peace, my
Zoe.
brother. Happy New Year's.
Yeah,
Same to y'all, fellas. Much love. Y'all have a good one.
you too. But I
All
think
right, peace.
thank you.
Let me just say what BGS just said. It's not just money, BGS. It's family money.
Mm-hmm.
That uncle that owned the machine shop for the past 20 years don't care nothing about rock music.
Mm-hmm.
He's the one giving this dude a $8,000, $5,000 startup.
Mm-hmm.
He ain't got to go. I mean, a lot of times I've been in court. I've been in medical finance for like 23 years, man.
Mm-hmm.
There's people who come in just with their blue eyes,
Mm-hmm.
don't know nothing from nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Instant 25, 30 an hour. Hey, Q, can you train? Becky, I respect what you're saying, but I am not employed as the trainer. But you're the only one to know the system, Becky. I'm focused on my work, and I'm not the trainer. I do that specifically because I train a brother. I might even train a sister. But I'm not training the competition. You're going crazy.
I think one of the other benefits of the white versus the black, I think the intimate parts of what BGS was saying is that money, and believe it or not, the white generation, for some reason or another, they take whatever their generation did and retweak it so it works for them. They don't just say it's obsolete. They don't keep building over every 18 years. They take that old money, that old foundation, and turn it into what they want to. But I think as us, we get kicked to the curb and blamed for everything. That's the difference. We ain't never go do enough. Never have did enough. So I think that's the difference for me in my life experience dealing with the new generation versus the older generation.
Brother BGS or Dollar Will?
Yeah, I want to say on that note of supporting black males, we really need to get behind this lawsuit that Byron Allen got going, and not. I mean, I heard somebody make a ridiculous point that he has something to gain, as if him having something to gain doesn't also therefore we shouldn't support it because he's going to benefit from it. That is
he has a white wife. That's really what the bottom of it has nothing to do with him. Okay, that's what it is.
And we got a lot to lose if he loses his case. If we lose this case, we got a lot to lose.
Yeah, well,
exactly right. Because
can you imagine somebody saying that about the white mayor of New York? He got a black wife, so
Lagio.
Okay, I wasn't trying to get into the white thing. I'm not dismissing that, but I don't think that.
No. I'm not saying that about you. I'm just saying the way our community focuses on that.
Yeah, that's why they focus on
the point that he's making about the civil rights, tying in the civil rights law to create these opportunities for us. That would wind the clock back in a good way for us to those to the late 70s, early 80s, where we were able to get opportunities.
Yeah.
Kathy Hughes didn't build; she built her network basically because of a daggone distress sale of a big white media company that allowed her to be able to gather up a lot of those stations at a low price. Yeah. That's we need that. We can't get caught up in this crazy stuff about whether his wife is white or whether he's gonna be able to benefit with his company. Well, we all can eat. You know what I mean? Why shouldn't he benefit? If he's going to do all this work, we got a lot of people who don't ever really risk anything. And then they're going to get mad when the person who's risking a lot is going to eat. Yeah, he should get
right.
Yeah. You know what, Dollar Will? at my age, I'm 60 years old. You know what? If the millennials
Ghost,
and
hold on, Ghost. Your mic is muted.
yeah,
Go ahead, BGS.
yeah, and when I'm 60 years old, man. If the millennials and the Xers, not Xers, but the millennials and the Zs don't want to fight for their rights, let it go down the tubes. If you don't want to maintain and fight for it, because all my life, all the boomers been fighting for this shit, man, and still fighting for it. I got a mentor. She's 70 years old. She's still fighting for it. She's one of the original boomers. She's still fighting for this stuff, right? At her age. But if the young folks don't want to fight for it, you don't think it's valuable, let it go down the tubes and you get what you get. At the end of the day, most of us are old, okay? We're past our prime, okay? We're looking toward whatever's left. But the thing is, you guys have to make this world. You guys got to feast in this world. You guys got to live in it. If you don't want to protect what's already built, let it go to waste and see what you get. If you don't believe in it, at the end of the day, I was telling King Sigma, you guys are on. It's your watch right now. Just like it was ours when we were in our 20s and 30s. You guys are on watch. Okay, you guys have to protect what we have and build upon it. If you don't do it, guess what's going to happen? It's going to go down the tubes. If you're okay with that, then I have to be, because at this stage of the game, most of us on this panel can't do anything about it.
Right.
We're
got
past
one leg in the grave and the other one on a banana peel.
Yeah. Yep.
So on that note, I'm quite sure you guys have been hearing people ask and talk about SYSBM.
Mm-hmm.
What is a boomer's perspective on that?
I'm about to go. So let me just say this real quick.
Go ahead.
I don't mind what people do. I've been encouraging it for years on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're using it as a moment to turn to Dollar Will or Ghost and say, nah, now you're not in the maturity level no more. Now you're not doing what you going your own way is supposed to be going your own way, not go your own way, turn back and start talking shit. And the reason I say that is not to protect females, is because some of y'all are hitting the innocent bystanders, the 20% of chicks that do ride with black men. Some of y'all are getting so turned on with being disrespectful. You tune in just to talk wild, and I get it. You're frustrated, I get it. But when I tell y'all just move to Montana, you'll never have to worry about a black chick again. just move to Colorado. Why is it taking you 5 years?
They love black men in Utah.
I mean, serious. Why is it taking you 5 years to move to Kansas and Wisconsin? Some of these dudes been on YouTube for 3, 5, 7. I've been on since 2007. Some of these dudes been on for years. Well, shouldn't you been gone by now? Well, that's not the point. We got to get these chicks to realize they females. Have you seen how the Iranian women act? Man, boy, stop. They female. Why do you think the Saudis got such strict laws on their women? Mm-hmm. Have you ever seen Arab women twerking? They do it. Have you ever seen them lay on their back in full dress, spreading their legs? They do it. So don't think that my whole thing with SYS is, man, go look, show me proof of concept. Don't go visit Paris. Say I moved to Paris or I've been in Paris for the past 6 months. Then you're going to realize, wait a minute, some of these Paris people don't like my leadership ways. Matter of fact, BGS, you remember what's the dude that was in Russia?
Yeah, I remember him.
Okay. Okay, so he had a dude come from YouTube. I think this happened about 2008, 2009. Mm-hmm. He had a dude come from YouTube. He was always complaining about women. Mm-hmm. He was a little young dude, short dude, probably 4'10", 4 foot. He was short. Mm-hmm. He went out there and kicked it with that dude in Russia for like darn near a month. Mm-hmm. He left because he said, and I quote, "The women wasn't all up on me like I thought." Mm-hmm. And I said to him back then, well, where's your video about the Russian women? Why you done spent like X amount of months talking about these black chicks? Then there was another dude that went out there with the African dude, Amaya, or whatever his name is.
Mm-hmm.
He came from YouTube. He went out there and stole 12,000 from Amaya, kicking it with the Latin chicks.
Mm-hmm.
What are we doing? But then you say we dick policing if we point this out. Okay, nobody said anything about your penis. We said move to Montana. It costs you $500 to go get you an apartment. You can go out there next week. Mama, I'm moving out. I'm moving out the basement. I'm moving to Montana. I'll never want to see another black chick again. Cool. But once you get out there, you're going to have to adhere to Montana laws.
Mm-hmm.
Some of you guys want to stay close to the black people so you can complain. Get out there. Go to Kansas. Please go to Kansas. Do it.
Kansas.
I'm not being. I mean, I ain't really trying to be funny. I'm trying to say, no real warrior, no real king, no real giant complains for this long. I remember I first spoke to BGS. He said, "Yeah, but the red pill rage lasts a long time." Come on, man. That's not even sensible for a dude that got testicles. It's a year and you still red pill raging?
No, I'll go contraire. There's men that are married are still raging. The thing is,
look. Come with me. Let me set you up with an apartment in Montana.
Yeah.
You will never have to red pill rage again. You'll be all around all white women who shoot guns and kill cougars and mountain lions for a living. You will never have to worry about another black chick again. That's my time.
Red pill rage has nothing to do with black chicks. The thing is, red pill rage has to do with the way you were taught and how you were lied to, and that society has very little to do with women.
Well, it should not. But what I'm saying is, some of these dudes are, let me not put real pill rage in it. Some of these dudes are still 6 months later, a year later, 5 years later, you're still. These women are apes, monkeys. I'm finna go over to this innocent chick who talking about she love black women, and I'm finna call her a bed wench and an ape. And huh? How did it get to that point, black men?
Where it's been building up for 20 years because of what they've heard or what they've heard themselves called over the media, and basically it's coming back. So basically, it's going to last as long as it lasts because Oprah, if you look at their own network, they're still rehashing stuff they said back in the 80s. Okay, how come that never goes away? It doesn't matter. Human beings are human beings, and this is the way the society works. And the thing is, what you're hearing is new people coming up at this, again, because we're going through the same thing with this select, non-select, the same thing we went through with the street dudes versus educated lames. Basically, you have new people coming in; they have to learn the same lessons all over again. That's the issue that we're having.
I'm gonna hang up BGS, but look,
I just had to do a video about that shit.
I do know this, BGS.
Mm-hmm.
Even if all that is true,
mm-hmm.
and I say this to Art all the time, we as black males have to start financially supporting our heroes who combat that.
That's true.
So if you get somebody like, I was very disappointed when I saw that the Brian Banks movie only made $2 million.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't have enough black men go out and support a movie about black men being injustice. The dude had the NFL supporting the movie and everything. Black men didn't come out support.
Okay.
So my thing is, even if somebody creates a network or whatever to compete against the Oprahs of the world, we as black men got to stop holding on to this $10.99. We got to start breaking bread.
Mr. Research, the thing is that, because like I said, I've been in the game 30 years. The thing is that you have this deep psychological conditioning that's been going on for a very long time. You got to, before that even happens, you got to dig that out. Okay, you have to dig that out. The thing is, that's what my channel is about. We have to dig this stuff out because you can't move forward until you actually dig this stuff out. That's why I've been working with Dr. Johnson. We need more PhDs that have letters that actually come in and start reforming these policies, so these dudes can actually start digging this crap out. Because this is psychological conditioning. Okay, this has been around for a long time. At some point, having jobs, telling there's opportunities, all this kind of stuff is not going to help unless we dig this bullshit out of our psyche. We have to dig this gynocracy, this matriarchal thinking out of these boys. Otherwise, it's just going to repeat again. We're going to give them jobs. You're going to have a success. It's going to fall again because we haven't addressed the conditioning that these kids, that these boys are under. If we don't do that, it's all for naught.
I'm gonna let y'all handle that, and I'm gonna dedicate the rest of my life as far as approaching it from the health and nutrition. That's one of the things that I am very good in, and I'm gonna let y'all brothers fight with, well, not fight, but approach it and strategize what need to be done. And in that area, I'm pretty much getting out of that area. I'm going back to what I'm comfortable at, and I'm comfortable at showing people how to preserve your body, how to live a decent life, how to eat decent food. And I think that's gonna be part of that too, because if you ain't eating decent foods, man, you ain't thinking decent. You are what you eat. And so that's gonna be my approach. And I'm gonna support y'all brothers in whatever y'all do and y'all strategy as far as how y'all do it, because it's gonna have to, somewhere we're gonna have to make that connection with the younger generation and let them know we love them and we want them to be successful. We're not out here hating them regardless of however they feel about us. We want them to be successful in whatever endeavor, whatever they go and experience in their journey in life. And so that's what I'm gonna donate my time and my effort and my experience as far as approaching it from, because the medical field say we have 11 systems in the body. OG say you got 2 more you haven't even tapped into, and I'm gonna prove that, and I'm gonna leave it at that.
Okay.
Dollar Will.
Yeah, about the SYSBM thing. It doesn't. I don't really have much reaction to it other than there's a one. It's not. It's hard to have a reaction because it's not like a unified thing. It's people in that carry that flag that have different a range of kind of opinions. And I can't put them all in one bag. But the let it burn contingent. I'll say that I hear less of that now than I was hearing, say, a year ago. So I'm happy about that. But that's the only part of it that will annoy me, with the let it burn part. And then, so, okay, you want to let it burn, or you want to say, you want to talk to them about they Pan-African. Okay, so you're not Pan-African, but you want to let it burn. What you going to do? Is you going to build here? You going to build somewhere else? I mean, how you going to make that work? So, but I'm not saying that's the whole group or the majority of the group. So I think they're kind of coming together among themselves about, just what it is that they represent. And also another part of me just I don't respond to it because what's the saying? Thou protest too much. If they really were done with Black American women, it wouldn't be this much arguing and fighting and talking. They would just ghost, and it would just happen. So the part of me, the pro-Black part of me, is happy in a twisted kind of way that there is this fighting, because that means that they still care and they're engaged. Because if when they stop fighting and stop talking at all, then it's over. But they love to fight. They love to fight, so that means they still trying to work it out.
Now, this is my last absolute
Most certainly.
Before we hop out of here, I'm wondering if I should ask this. It's about politics, but I would ask this then. What were men taught to do when it comes to women in relationships back in your time? That's the ending question. Who wants to take that one?
Well, I can't speak for the 40 million of Black people, or 30 million back in them days, but I was taught to take charge. A man runs his household. A man brings the necessities that keeps his house moving on a functional level where the next generation could be better. And children, believe it or not, we was taught when we was coming up, children come first. Point blank. And the woman was taught that your man come first. Because if your man don't come first, he can't give you the things you need and the nutrition and the guidance and the mental health that your children need to be productive citizens in this country and to keep this thing moving. So there had to be priorities in that household. And the woman was the one who kept the thread that kept all of it moving. So everybody had a balance in the house. It wasn't one was better than the other, but everybody knew what their job was. And the male really knew what his job was, to go out there and hunt and then come back and lay it on the table. You know, it used to be what I would be even scared to say today, because we don't deal with these. These are not the primary type women in our community, but a man would have no problem going out there and working and come back and lay his check on the table and let his woman, because she know how the household was ran. She know how to pay the bills. I mean, she know how to do all that. She know what it mean. And he wasn't worrying about her taking them to the bank. So I guess that was a different time and a different generation. But in the struggles that we was in, it was working. I know we didn't win every battle, but just like I said from the beginning, how we got knocked down didn't really tell the story. The story was told how you got back up and what you learned from it. And so I think this is what men was taught back in them days, you know, take charge and do your best.
Okay. Dollar Will?
Can you repeat the question? I had some bogging and stuff. I had to
Okay. The question was, how were men taught? Where is that? Yes. What were men taught to do when it came down to being with women and in relationships as well? Back in your day, you know.
I'm gonna make this quick. I'm gonna punt this one to BDS after I say my short piece, because the degradation of the family, I lived that in my period. So I was raised by my father's sister, and you know, so and my mother and father were both alive, and so they were doing their thing. Okay, so that part of me can relate to the modern era, but I did have a male figure in the house. Okay, my uncle, well, a military guy, so I had a male figure, and I had contact with uncles and older cousins. So I would say I'll answer the question this way: the extended family was more united back then than now. Maybe it was because geographically we were physically closer together, so that contact that was there. So there was always somebody, family nearby, and my family was in New York, DC, and North Carolina. But wherever, if you needed to go to one of those states for a while to work it out or to have some structure, that's what you did. So it seems that that's not happening today. So I can't paint the picture from my experience that my family had these model relationships. So I come from that situation of men raising kids that was not their own, and I benefited from that. Okay, so. And my friends, a lot of my friends, they've married women with kids. I've seen that work. So I think we're going to have to revisit some of that, just as a practical matter. I don't like the message that men should avoid women with kids. I think it's an individual choice. We shouldn't shame brothers who make that choice, but we also shouldn't shame brothers who choose not to do it. So I just think we just have to be a little more open-minded and respectful, because if we're going to have a community at all, somebody got to father and model for these young boys.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at, is because the stuff that I've been hearing, it seems like there is a disconnect in how the older generation was raised and how these newer people were, you know, because I guess they say it comes down to teaching or what have you. But the question would be too is, have they been taught or were they not paying attention?
I don't think they were taught. I don't know why where it went, but it seemed that the men in my era, they knew that okay, somebody's got to do the job. And so they would just step up and do it. An uncle or big, you know, somebody would do it. It just got done.
Right. Okay. OG.
I think I answered that. I think it was BGS.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, just a little quick follow up as far as the disconnect between the younger generation and the way that you guys were taught. And,
Okay.
you know, do you see if they were paying attention or they just haven't been taught at all?
I think with the absence of the fathers in the house in media, print, music, movies, they have a totally different concept, and that's their teachers. Because when you don't have fathers in the house, what you think will be taught? There's nothing.
Right.
Because when the mother has to take on the role saying I'm the father and the mother, absolutely, you know, you setting yourself up for failure right there. And I mean, she's setting up child up for failure. So I think it was a total disconnect, because even when fathers wasn't back in the day when I was coming up, that's when my uncle stepped in, took me to New York. You around too many girls. We need to take you to New York. You make sure you stay in that military school. So you had uncles being the heroes, you know, your mother's sister or your father. I mean, say your mother, brother, or your father's brother would step in and take the role. And then you would have people just in the neighborhood, and then you had people in PAL who would come in. And I think these things are totally disconnect because that was a different time. We don't have these things now. You know, uncles, you know, they ain't in the house with their children anymore. You got grandmothers at 32 years old, you know, so it's like, it just wasn't, it's not been taught, man. We were just in a different time now. And I think that's where the new generation is making a big mistake by not trying to seek our counsel. We don't want to be in, y'all got the torch. We don't want to take y'all torch. We just want y'all to do what y'all need to do. But if y'all need counsel, we just stay in the background. We don't have to shame each other about what somebody's doing and what somebody's not doing. And I think this technology world is making not only just the new generation, but all cross racial lines is making people not having real contact with human respond. They're responding to iPhones, Androids, and all that kind of stuff. And they got these cartoon figures. They have letting Marvel tell them what a father or hero supposed to be. So they're living in a fantasy world, and we didn't live in a fantasy world. We lived in the real world, real time.
Right. Okay, so this is what I'm going to do for the next time, because I think we got a array of information from the the older generation, so to speak. I'm going to put together a Gen X panel, and then later on, I'm going to try to do like a very well selected millennial panel, and pretty much tackle these issues, and just mainly to see people's thoughts. I really appreciate everybody coming through. Appreciate everybody that came in the chat. Appreciate Artisan MC, part of the 3 Art Beats. He gave me a Cash App along with Miss Les. I appreciate you for your Cash App as well. Hope people learn this. And thank you guys for all coming out and making this somewhat a success for me, where I'll be able to come out with some content that you can play around your children with large numbers. So that's what I was trying to do, to make sure that all you gotta do is push play, for the young folks, so you won't have to worry about any type of crazy talk. So we had BGS came through, we had OG J Speed, we had Dollar Will, we had Lonzo, and we had Mr. Research. Did I miss anybody else? Yeah, I mean, that was it. So I appreciate you guys for coming through. I know it's too many names out there to really give shout outs to, but I appreciate it. But I'll be coming out with more content like this. Hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to hit the likes before you roll out. And this is in dedication to Bob and Dick Gregory. So I want to do something a little different. So any last words or comments, fellas?
Thank you. You're starting the year off right. This is where I wanted to start the year off, where all the mayhem in the back of me, and try to push forward where we can learn from each other, old, new, light skin, dark skin, short, fat, big toe, small toe, dusty, whatever. As long as we talk to each other in a respectful manner, that we can learn, and it makes you want to learn. And even though you won't say it in public, you might take some of the stuff that we use today or we said today and apply it to your life. And things that don't apply to your life, man, just throw it out the window. And I hope that a lot of other tubers are really trying to focus on this kind of strategy where we don't need to be fighting against each other trying to get to the same place. Thank you for having me, Art, New Style.
Well, thank you for coming, brother. Dollar Will?
Yeah, just thank you for having me on, brother. And I would say at some point we got to get out of like crisis mode, and this is like for every generation. At some point we're gonna have to look at our relationship to this country and the process which creates people. And the first one is that daggone educational system. At some point we're gonna have to take control over the information that we feed to our kids at their youngest age, so we don't end up having to like go through this deprogramming and reprogramming of grown folk. It's just too hard. At some point it's got to become important to a generation to say, okay, I want to put my kids in a different kind of educational environment, or we have to use this technology to start homeschooling or support the homeschooling movement that's already in place. The people that can afford to do it. For the ones that can't do it, we need to have some supplemental education after school on weekends or whatever that's affordable, using the internet to, of course, teach all this history, not just in this country, but African, even world history, all of it. Of course, even down to basic, improving our math and reading and everything, just to get better and take some of that. I don't want to say responsibility. We need to take more agency for our own development. If we're going to self-actualize, we're going to have to take responsibility for what we feed our minds.
Well, I appreciate it, fam. And they can find you on Black Brain Trust sometimes.
Sometimes, but mostly you check out if you're not subscribed to my channel. Go to Dollar Will's channel. Occasionally, not occasionally. I'm gonna start putting up more stuff right now. What I primarily do is keep people focused on what's going on with the S&P 500, which is the main thing that's feeding your retirement account. If you are over 50, if you get caught in this downturn, you're not going to retire. It's not going to be enough time for you to recover from this devastation. Now, if you're younger and you do the right thing in this downturn, you can set yourself up sweet. This could be the best thing that ever happened to you. It could be. So with this downturn, what we're talking about is the greatest wealth transfer probably ever. That's for the people who are aware, conscious of what to do. So on my channel, I discuss some basic chart reading techniques and keep people tuned in to what's going on with the S&P 500. Right now, I haven't done any videos because it's in a nice little run, but it's not going to last long. And I believe this is going to be the last little burst up that we're in right now. So sign up. Subscribe to my channel. If I put a video up, you need to watch it, because I don't do videos just for the sake of doing videos. Now, the people that are on my Patreon, they get stuff from me all the time. But on the regular YouTube, if I put a video up, you need to watch it.
Gonna come out the pocket too.
Well, on the Patreon, yeah, but the YouTube is free. Get the free stuff, okay? If you know, do the free. If you want to go deeper and you want to get some personal education or whatever, then that's the Patreon.
Okay. So the main ideal is to really put together a lot of wisdom. That's why a lot of people stuck around, is because when you put that wisdom together, you just sit there. It's like a vibration of some sort in the brain. So I think people need to really get used to that and try to keep that in their lives. As a matter of fact, I was honored to be able to do this in YouTube. I mean, I always can go to like different clubs and events and organizations, but this is cool that I was able to do this on YouTube. Also, a special thanks to Afrisynergy, T West, from Afrisynergy News, because he normally don't go to a lot of places, but I'm very honored that he would come and spend some time with us. So without any further ado, everyone, I'm about to go ahead and take care of some business before it gets dark. Maybe I see you guys on the Coliseum if he decides to do it. But I guess without any further ado, I'm out, and you guys have a good weekend.
Peace.
Peace.